Yeah. How are you still awake? My god. That's not good. I was hoping the hitmen I sent took care of that. Although I did say take them by surprise, so. Oh, I hope this will cut out. Actually, let me check the game is a point and click good. Unknown controller support. Alright, so I think maybe controller is a no-go. I have no idea. I have no idea. Is it a full moon? Because sometimes I can't sleep when it's a full moon, so... Ooh, the game. This sounds gorgeous. Hold on. There we go. On the 2nd. Whoa. I've never played this game. I know nothing. All I know is it's Alice related. Blood and violence. Believe you're playing it if you're under the recommended age. Flashing lights which may not be suitable for those with epilepsy. What kind of game did I download? Alice. Our Alice. Your arms, your legs, your head, your voice. Please give them to us. No. I think I need those. If this world exists only to hurt you, throw it away. A body torn to pieces sleeps quietly. There's meant to be space there. Wrapped in a blanket of madness. Now, a nightmare from which you will never awaken begins. Oh. Alright. Woo! Back to 5. Chapter 1. Forever After School. After waking up from a dream, the line between dreams and reality is blurred. Even if you've been awake for a while, what is a dream and what is reality may not be obvious. Huh? What is this? I stared blankly at the figure before me. Sharp yellow teeth lined the inside of a mouth shaped like a crooked crescent moon. What a big mouth you have, like the wolf that ate Little Red Riding Hood. Good morning, Alice, spoke the mouth. Ariko. I snapped to attention. Who are you? I was so startled that I nearly fell out of my chair. A figure was leaning over its arms and legs and had perched itself on top of a desk in the study room. Why is someone on top of the desk? Never mind that. Who is this person? The school is off limits to non-students and non-faculty members. At least it's supposed to be. Did I? Oh! Something snapped. Oh! There we go. The suspicious figure's face was hidden beneath the hood of its cloak. All I could see was its grinning mouth. There are no school or sports festivals today, so there's no reason for such a strange person to be here. I slowly stood up from my chair and backed away. Why is no one... Huh? It was then that I realized nobody else was around. I was alone with this strange hooded figure. Huh? Where's Yukino? That's right. I came here with my friend Yukino to study, didn't I? Still half asleep, my memory was hazy as I tried to remember what had happened. And then I accidentally fell asleep. Yukino is not here, said the hooded figure, still perched atop the desk. She had a deep voice. Is it a man? But his slender chin looks rather feminine. I wonder if she went home without me. They have a nice smile. They need to brush their teeth. Sunlight leaked through the window, painting the room a dark shade of red. The sun will set soon. Yukino is not here. The hooded figure repeated himself as if responding to my muttering. Well, then I'm going to go home too. I slowly backed away, keeping my gaze fixed on the figure perched on top of the desk. My movements stiff, I gradually made my way to the door. I need to tell the teacher. There's a weird person here. I touched the door handle and was about to walk out of the study room, but against my better judgment, I glanced behind me. Oh. I lightly slammed my back against the door. The figure was right behind me, practically nestled up against me. Too close, he's too close. I need to cover me. I didn't hear him make a sound. My body dragged against the door as I slid down to the floor. The figure just looked down at me with a satisfied grin on his face. Can I help you with something? Who are you? I am the Cheshire Cat. That is Cheshire. Cheshire Cat? You're not from around here, are you? Now, Alice, let's chase after the right rabbit. What? Rabbit? Huh? What's this about a rabbit? Are you looking for a rabbit? That's fine and all, but I wish you wouldn't stand so close to me. That thought entered my head as I sat there, my back still pressed against the door. I'm not looking for it. You're going to chase after it, Alice. Who is Alice? You. No, I'm not. I am not Alice. I shook my head violently. Oh, so that's it. You've just mistaken me for someone else. I breathed a sigh of relief. Of course I wouldn't know what he's talking about. It all makes sense now. I'm not mistaken. We wouldn't mistake Alice for anyone. But I'm not Alice. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. I'm telling you. My name is Eriko Katsuragi. I mean, my name might sound like Alice, but I'm a native Japanese and my English is pretty bad, so that means I felt a surge of determination. I'm not Alice. Cheshire Cat paused, then nodded his head. All right, Alice, let's chase the right rabbit. My words, they aren't getting through to him at all. Why did I even bother explaining? Speechless, I looked up at the figure. I couldn't see anything inside his hood, except darkness, a gloomy, oppressive darkness. It looked like it would swallow me whole. A shiver ran up my body. Suddenly, the darkness came closer. The figure held out his hand. Without thinking, I'll go away. Maybe. This was made in 2022, so probably. I opened the door and ran out of the study room. What? But as soon as I ran out the door, my feet came to a stop. The hallway had no end. It stretched on and on until it became a hazy blur. What is this? When did the hallway become like this? How is this even possible? At first I thought rubbing my eyes would make it go away, but there was no change in the sight I beheld. I started to feel dizzy. Anyway, I need to get downstairs. That was my initial thought, but I quickly discovered that the stairs had vanished too. They should have been right next to the study room, but I only saw a white wall. I just stood there, dumbfounded. What could this possibly mean? The situation was so strange, I blurted that question aloud in spite of myself. Is something wrong, Alice? I heard the Cheshire Cat's voice behind me. For a moment, I hesitated, then I decided to act. Nothing is wrong, I shouted without turning around, then broke into a fierce run down the hallway. A strange figure or a strange hallway, which is better. There was no way of knowing, but I chose the hallway. It's a COVID game? Brain rot. I ran and ran and ran and ran, and then I came to a stop. Running is not my strong suit. Same girl. Why do I have to run as fast as I can inside the school? I placed my arms on my knees and took some rough breaths. After taking a deep breath, I looked behind me. The study room door seemed very small now. Just past the door, a grey silhouette stood inside the study room. It was the strange figure I rejected. He didn't chase after me, he just stood there. It would be scary if he came after me, but it's also scary that he didn't. When I looked ahead, I still couldn't see the end of the hallway. Did I make the wrong choice? That question arose in my mind, but I ignored it for now and continued to run forward. I trudged through the hallway. I couldn't bring myself to return to the study room. Even if I went back, there is no escape, so if I can't go back, I must move forward. The long hallway was dead quiet. I shouted out loud a few times, but there was no response. It seems like there really is no one here. Why? I wonder where everyone could have gone. There was a window on the side of the hallway. From the window, I could see the front courtyard. Everything outside was tinted red from the sunset, but there was no one out there. No cars, no bicycles? Bicyclettes? Oh, I think it's meant to say cyclists. Not a single sound. What could have happened? An orderly row of classrooms were to my left. The plates that should display the classroom numbers were blank. Though this should be a familiar environment, there was something cold and distant about it. What should I do? Isn't anyone here? As if praying, I walked by each classroom and peered inside. After opening yet another door, my feet came to a halt. A strange figure stood in the middle of the classroom. Good, there's someone here. Excuse me. I was about to run over to him, but suddenly caught myself. What is that? At first glance, his slacks and white button-up shirt made him look like a businessman. But then I saw something no normal businessman would have. No, it was something that no normal person would have. From his head jutted 2 white ears, as if they were reaching for the sky. A rabbit. Costume? But it looks too real to be a costume. And that's not all. I could see through him and make out the scenery behind him. He's transparent? Excuse me? I carefully stepped into his view. My breath left me. Oh! His face and arms were covered in fluffy white fur. A red nose protruded from his face. This is definitely not a costume. But his right head was the most shocking thing about him. The fur on the rabbit's hand was drenched with thick, sticky blood. Why does he have blood on his? Is that the rabbit's blood, or does it belong to someone else? The white rabbit held a doll against his wet, red chest. It was a doll body. The doll was about the size of a baby, but it had no arms, legs, or even a head. The rabbit cradled this plump, childlike body as though it were very important to him. And then I heard a soothing lullaby. Arms, arms, arms. Where could your arms be? If you don't have arms, you can't pet me. Aww. A drop of blood ran down the rabbit's hand, sliding along the doll's belly before it plopped onto the floor. Fresh blood, as if it just recently killed someone. It's not enough. The rabbit's voice made my body twitch. His eyes were still fixed on the doll in his arms. He was ignoring my presence. No, maybe he hadn't even noticed me yet. No, it's not enough. I must hurry. With that, the white rabbit aimlessly walked toward the door in front of him. His incorporeal body effortlessly passed through the desk. Just before the rabbit went through the closed door, his muttering reached my ears. Alice. Finally, the rabbit passed through the classroom door and disappeared. What was that just now? I stood in place dumbfounded. A rabbit ghost, or was it just a hallucination? So many curious things have been happening. I'm not sure how to react. This isn't a dream, is it? There was a small pool of blood where the white figure had been standing. Red proof that this wasn't an illusion. Droplets of blood that had pooled on the ground had oozed their way to the door. When I opened the door, the trail of blood continued down the hallway. I stared intently down the hallway. Just like before, there was no end in sight. As if being invited by the red trail, I continued to walk the hallway. Yeah, something like that. How far have I been walking? I finally reached the end, and just when I started to feel more bored by the hallway than scared... Oh, what? My feeling of relief quickly gave way to disappointment. As I got closer, it became more obvious that it was just a wall. A dead end. When I've walked this far... I grew more discouraged as I approached the wall, when I noticed a tiny, tiny door. Okay. I wonder what it tastes like. Probably blood. Oh wow, what a small door. It has to be 8 inches tall, if that. For such a small door, it even had small details like doorknobs. It's so cute. It's a mini door. But what's this door even doing here? I grabbed the doorknob and twisted it, and the door opened easily enough. When I lowered my head to peer through the door, I saw a hallway much like the one I was in. But there was one key difference. A staircase! If I can get to the other side of this door, I can go down those stairs. Maybe not different blood types, but maybe like people's different diets? Because that would definitely affect someone's blood. That would definitely affect someone's blood. And then maybe I can go outside. The other side of this door. My happiness quickly deflated. How can I even fit through such a tiny door? I stood, dusting off my school uniform. Well, this is a problem. I guess I have no choice but to use the curtains to climb down the balcony. I'm not exactly afraid of heights, but I'm not very athletic. If I fall from 4th floor, will I die? And French blood tastes like snails? Well, maybe. With those thoughts on my mind, I opened the door to the nearest classroom. Oh. Huh? My feet stopped at the entrance. This classroom was different from the others. A colourful paper chain and paper flowers decorated the classroom. The students' desks and chairs were pushed to the back, leaving an open space in front of the classroom. It was like a birthday or a going-away party in an elementary school. But instead of a lively atmosphere, the classroom was silent. There were various drawings on the blackboard, and in the centre, in wet red letters, "Welcome home, our Alice," was written. It looked fresh, as if written just recently. Alice. I murmured that name as I stared at the blackboard. I had heard this name a lot today. In front of the blackboard, on top of the teacher's podium, was a rather large basket. Oh, there's an ad. Wait for the ad to finish. Okay, slip of paper lay on top of the basket. "Eat me," was written on it. What could it be? I wonder if there's food inside. I casually opened the basket. Inside. Turns out you can't just phone a hospital and ask to do blood tasting. I think I'm some kind of on watch list now. Well, inside there was a white arm severed at the elbow. Oh! I ran as fast as I could back to the hallway. I only stopped running once I ran out of breath. My legs began to shake as soon as I stopped, and I sank to the floor. What was that just now? It looked like a child's arm. That red stuff where it was cut, was that blood? A wave of nausea suddenly hit me, and I covered my mouth. About the taste of blood, or about cannibalism? No, it can't be. No, running in the hallway, Alice. Ah! I panicked and looked behind me. But there was nobody there. Over here. The voice came from above. I looked up and saw someone crouched on top of the cupboard. It was the hooded figure I encountered in the study room. I believe he called himself the Cheshire Cat. What a strange person. I looked up at the man, dumbfounded. There wasn't a whole lot of space between the cupboard and the ceiling, yet somehow this person had compressed himself to fill that space. What are you doing in a place like that? It was so bizarre I could feel my composure weakening, and then the man jumped down, still grinning without making a sound. What is the matter, Alice? Are you hungry? I'm not hungry. There was a severed arm over there. What should I do? Oh yes, I need to call the police. While I sat on the ground in a panic, the person across from me seemed unfazed by all this. He just silently looked down at me, grinning. I swallowed my saliva in one loud gulp. Calm down. Right now, I should just try and talk to him. That's right. Communication is the key to understanding. Excuse me, were you listening to what I was saying? Of course. No matter where I am, Alice, I can hear your voice. That's creepy. What should I do now? That you should chase after the white rabbit. Rabbit? Why is he mentioning a rabbit now? Come, let's go. What are you talking about? This is no time to be even talking about a rabbit. But the Cheshire Cat's expression didn't change. He kept right on grinning. I started to get worried and began asking questions in rapid succession. Hey, why is no one else around? Did something happen? Do you know what's going on? But that grinning mouth provided no answers. Oh no, a baby outside? Why is a baby outside? My wariness began to turn into annoyance. Why is the hallway so long? Why is the door so small? How is anyone supposed to get through that thing? It's 9 a.m. At this point, I was mostly just venting, but to my surprise, the Cheshire Cat responded to my last question. So you wish to pass through the small door? He nodded with approval. No, it's not that. I just want to go. Come. The Cheshire Cat cut me off mid-sentence and walked away as if he were sliding along the floor. Wait a second, please. Hey! In the end, I followed him because I was too scared of being left behind, but was this the right decision? I stared at the grey back walking in front of me. He's definitely weird. It's suspicious enough that he refers to himself as the Cheshire Cat, and his appearance just makes him even more suspicious. Outside of movies and manga, I've never seen anyone wear a robe like this. Is it really okay for me to follow him? I suddenly felt uneasy. Staying quiet was only making my unease worse, so I decided to talk to the Cheshire Cat. Mr. Cheshire Cat? Yes, Alice? The Cheshire Cat replied, his back still facing me. Why are you always smiling? Well, Alice, all the better not to frighten you. After a few moments, I asked again, Mr. Cheshire Cat? Yes, Alice? The Cheshire Cat replied, his back still facing me. Why do you always walk so quietly? Well, Alice, all the better to hear your beating heart. After a few moments, I asked again, Mr. Cheshire Cat? Yes, Alice? The Cheshire Cat replied, his back still facing me. Why do you have such a large mouth? Is it gonna jump scare me? Well, Alice? Okay. All the better to eat you with. Yep, there we go. I bumped into the Cheshire Cat's back and came to a stop. Oops, my bad. I was imagining strange things. I'm gonna call him Dave. I'm sorry. I apologized as I raised my head. I realized we were in front of a decorated classroom. A child's arm I threw was most likely still inside. Panicking, I grabbed the Cheshire Cat by his clothes as he tried to enter. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't go inside because there's an arm. It's okay, Alice. The Cheshire Cat calmly replied. I'm not Alice. I told you that. The Cheshire Cat brushed off my attempt to hold him back and slipped inside the classroom. I turned away from the entrance. I can't. I really can't. I don't want to look at it ever again. Gerald or Gary vibes. That thing, just remembering it is making me nauseous. I would rather see anything else than see that arm again. So why does it have to be right in front of me? My attempt to run away failed almost immediately. Before I knew it, the Cheshire Cat had already grabbed me by the arm. Alice? No, don't bring it so close. Blech. A wave of nausea hit me and I fell to my knees. I desperately tried to hold back my vomit, my eyes blurred with tears. Oh no, I might throw up. But as I thought that, I felt a hand lightly touch my back. I couldn't see whose, but I'm pretty sure it was the Cheshire Cat's. It was a warm hand, brimming with heat. Right then and there, my nausea vanished. What was that just now? It's okay, Alice. Came the Cheshire... It's not okay, Don't get that thing anywhere near me. I screamed as I remained crouched and tried not to look at it. Eat. Huh? The sudden words made me lift my head in spite of myself. The man in the grey hood grinned as he held a severed white arm. Red liquid dripped from the wound. I became dizzy. Did you just tell me to eat that thing? Eat. All the blood in my face drained away. Naturally, I started to feel lightheaded. This is just weird. This person is definitely weird. What's this called again? There's a word for it. Cannibalism. No, I don't have a taste for human flesh. I don't, definitely not. I need to run away, but my legs just trembled weakly beneath me. I abruptly fell to the floor. Come on now. The Cheshire Cat bent over and held out the white arm. Stop! Help! Someone! I struggled in vain as the Cheshire Cat gently held me down. It's delicious. No, let go. I turned my head away in desperation and started slapping the Cheshire Cat with my free hand as hard as I could. What are you thinking? I can't eat a human arm, especially not a child's. Who could do such a terrible thing? It's not human flesh, said the Cheshire Cat as I slapped his face. Huh? Without thinking, I steadied my hand and looked at the Cheshire Cat. It's a bread arm. Bread? You mean like the kind of bread you eat? The Cheshire Cat grinned and held out the arm. I looked down at the arm in fear. A puffy arm. There were wrinkles on the joints and lines on the palms. Even the fingertips had nails. No. It is a real arm. There's no way you could bake bread to look like this. I started to hit the Cheshire Cat again. There's blood too. The Cheshire Cat rotated the arm, showing me where it was severed, just below the elbow. No, that's enough. Don't show me. I closed my eyes and looked away. That smell. It smells like bread. I opened one eye in response to the spicy flavour. The white arm dangled near my face, its severed end brushing against the tip of my nose. I was about to slap it away, but then I noticed something. Huh? That's weird. There's no bone. There was no bone to be seen inside the arm's severed end. Nice try. Haha. I think I need to update it so it can actually scare me. In its place, the arm was stuffed with a thick red substance. Small black grains were mixed in that shiny red liquid. This isn't blood, it's jam? Strawberry jam? Calmly and carefully, I studied the arm. It was indeed bread. On the surface, it looked just like a human arm, but inside it was filled with air bubbles. It's really bread? Yes, it's bread. It's baked very well. If a bread sculptures were a thing, this could probably go in a bread museum. Though, that would be in poor taste. Eat. No, even if it's just bread, I still don't want to eat that thing. Besides, I'm not even hungry. The Cheshire Cat remained quiet, then he ripped a hunk of bread from the arm. Even though I knew it was bread, the sight still made me shiver. The Cheshire Cat grinned as he held out the hunk of bread. He's always grinning, anyway. What happened next was too fast for me to even register. Initially, I didn't even know what happened. Something was shoved in my mouth. Well, in a split second, the Cheshire Cat had covered my mouth and nose with his hand. I can't breathe. I struggled as hard as I could, but the Cheshire Cat's hand wouldn't budge. For someone so skinny, he was incredibly strong. It hurts. Is this person trying to kill me? Since I was too delirious to breathe. Gulp. Ugh. I swallowed it. Once he was sure I had swallowed it, the Cheshire Cat finally removed his hand. Wasn't that tasty? It doesn't matter if it was tasty or not. It could have been a custard-filled sweet bun and it still wouldn't matter. And it also doesn't matter that the strawberry jam had the right amount of sweetness and tartness. I told you, I didn't want to eat it. As I began to protest, I started to feel dizzy. The world began to wobble and I was overcome with vertigo, as if the scenery and the Cheshire Cat himself were becoming mushy and warped. His smiling face grew larger and larger until it started to cover the world. See, this is what I get for eating a weird piece of bread that looks like a human flesh. Suddenly, the world turned dark. No, she was slapping him. At first, I thought I lost consciousness, but I was awake and my eyes were open. The world didn't turn dark because I lost consciousness. I was actually covered by a large piece of fabric. What is this? Is it a bed sheet or something? Why would this suddenly fall from the sky? I struggled to lift my head out of the mysterious fabric. However, it seemed oddly bigger than I had guessed. I couldn't move it off me. This fabric is strangely thick and heavy. Cheshire Cat, are you there? I called out in a random direction. What is it, Alice? His reply was surprisingly close, but I was still relieved. He's such a suspicious character, but it beats being completely alone. Hey, so this fabric, what's the deal with... Ah! What happened, Alice? The Cheshire Cat's relaxed voice came through the fabric. What? Oh god, why am I naked? I was definitely wearing my school uniform just a moment ago, wasn't I? I don't remember taking it off or having it taken off of me. Oh my god, take 5,000 of attempting to sleep. Wish me luck. I wish you the best of luck. As I panicked, the fabric above me began to ripple and sway. My visibility suddenly returned to me. Cheshire Cat's giant grinning face loomed before my eyes. What is wrong with me? Stay closed. I had screamed many times today already, and this time was no different. I crouched down and wrapped my arms around myself. Cheshire Cat, turn around. Why? It doesn't matter, just turn around. After I yelled at him, the Cheshire Cat turned around. Close your eyes too. You can't look until I say so, okay? As you wish, Alice. He responded in a carefree tone. I dove back into the fabric. Why did this happen? Clothes, where are my clothes? And why are you so big? I'm not big. You're small, Alice. Me? Small? What do you mean? You've become small. I mean, what does... Alice, speak slowly. The truth will not run away. Well, there is some truth to those words. That's right, I need to calm down. I learned in disaster drills in elementary school that you must remain calm in emergency situations. I took several deep breaths. Calm down and think. I've become small, I've become small. What does that mean? In a literal sense, it means I've shrunk down. I looked up at the fabric around me. Could this be my school uniform? Now that I think about it, this charcoal colour does look familiar. Because I shrunk, my clothes slipped off. And now that I'm small, the Cheshire Cat and the rest of the world looked enormous. Why? Why did I shrink? Human beings don't just shrink. Yes, they do, Alice. The Cheshire Cat nonchalantly dismissed my 16 years worth of conventional wisdom. Really? Is that true? Is that how it is? Anyone would shrink if they eat strawberry jam bread. You mean that bread arm from a moment ago? Usually shrink with age. Why did I shrink when I ate that bread? Because that's what it's supposed to do, Alice. At this point, I wasn't sure how to refute that. Achoo! My skin was covered in goosebumps. I forgot. Come to think of it, I'm cold. I need to take care of this problem first. What should I do? Is there something I can use to cover myself? I rummaged through my crumpled clothes. The scarf of my school uniform caught my eye. It seemed like the perfect size. I glanced back at the Cheshire Cat, who was still turned around like he was supposed to be. I quickly moved to remove the scarf from my school uniform and wrapped it around myself. In my current condition, the scarf was about the size of a larger than average bath towel. I suppose this will have to do for now. I took a deep sigh to steady my nerves and surveyed my surroundings. The ceiling was absurdly high, like a church cathedral's. Everything around me was too big to fit in my field of vision. I wish it weren't true, but unfortunately it seems I really have shrunk. Why does this have to happen to me? A long, exasperated sigh left my lips. The hallway is stretched out. I found a rabbit person, I think it's meant to be strange person, forced me to eat part of a severed arm made of bread and shrink. And on top of all that, I'm also completely naked. At that moment, I quickly glanced up at the mysterious person in front of me. And the only person I've actually met so far won't listen to what I'm saying. Wait a second. All this weirdness started happening after I met this person. He might be the mastermind behind all this. I was suddenly overcome with dread. Forcing me to eat that bread and shrinking me? What is he trying to do? Nothing good can come of this, not if I'm with him. I need to run away. Quietly, I turned around. Where are you going, Alice? I almost screamed, but managed to catch myself. Despite facing the opposite direction, he was still very perceptive. I'm not going anywhere. Can I turn around now? No, not yet. Is that so? That was all the Cheshire Cat said before falling silent once again. It seemed he's really going to honour my request to look away until I say otherwise. He's surprisingly obedient. No, I can't let him fool me. I started to distance myself from the Cheshire Cat, taking care to hide the sound of my footsteps. I couldn't walk too fast because the scarf felt like it would slip off. Where are you going, Alice? Though he was still facing away from me, the Cheshire Cat repeated his previous question. I'm not going anywhere. I could feel my voice wavering as I answered him. Does he have eyes in the back of his head? Can I turn around now? No, you can't. You definitely can't. Is that so? He is so strange. I shouldn't be anywhere near him. I picked up my scarf and ran quietly so as not to make a sound. I didn't think to run to a specific place. I just need to get away from here and lose this person. Just when I started to feel out of breath, I saw a door. That's the tiny door from before. But this time it looked only slightly smaller than a normal sized door. That's right, now that I'm this size, I can go through it. If I remember correctly, there was a staircase past this door. If I go down it, I'm sure I can get outside. Where are you going, Alice? Ah! I tripped on the hem of the scarf and fell down. I turned around in a panic, and there I saw the Cheshire Cat still facing the opposite direction. I didn't even hear his footsteps or sense his presence. Can I turn around now? He's strange. This person is definitely strange. I told him not to turn around until I say so, but what kind of person takes that request so literally? Alice, is it okay now? No. I'll be stubborn too, if that's what it takes. Is that so? Of course. Cheshire Cat did not object one way or the other. He simply nodded. I started to walk again, backwards this time so I could watch him. He just slid after me while he faced the opposite direction. He must have eyes on the back of his head. I wonder if he's some new kind of monster. Please stop following me. Why? Because whenever you're around, bad things happen. But Alice, I told you to stop following me. As you wish, Alice. With those words, the Cheshire Cat stopped walking. I seized that opportunity to run as fast as I could towards the small door. This door is tiny. I'm sure he won't be able to fit through. I bolted through the door. Slam! As soon as the tiny door closed behind me, I leaned back against it and slid down the floor. Overcome with relief, my eyes began to well up. I don't want to do this anymore. this anymore. Why do I have to suffer such a horrible experience? I've become so small. What am I supposed to do now? I closed my eyes tight when suddenly a light voice came from above. What's wrong, miss? I raised my head and froze. Oh, look, it's so cute! A giant animal I couldn't identify stood before me. What is that? A bear? No, I think it's a hedgehog. What are you crying about? The giant animal seemed too dim and simple to be cautious. My God. What are you? A bear? Nah, I'm not a bear. I'm a hedgehog. The hedgehog adamantly shook his head as if being mistaken for a bear was unthinkable. Hedgehog? I stared carefully at the huge animal looming before me. His thin, pointy nose stuck out from beneath his round black eyes, and his bulky body was covered in grey, grizzled fur. I see it now. He is a hedgehog. I've seen one in a picture book before. That's right. He just looks so big because I've shrunk. Why can a hedgehog talk to a human? Huh? Why is a hedgehog at a school? Huh? The hedgehog stood frozen, his mouth half open as a blank expression appeared on his face. Huh? It's no use. He's more confused than me, and I'm the one who asked. It's fine, don't worry about it. At this rate, our conversation will never progress, so I just let the question drop. The hedgehog smiled as if saying, Really? Now that I think about it, I just saw a rabbit wearing human clothes, so a talking hedgehog wearing an apron is really nothing to... Whoa there! Before I knew it, the hedgehog brought his face really close to mine. What? Huh? What do you mean? I didn't know what he meant, I just knew getting in my face like this wasn't normal. Anyways, miss, what are you doing here? I asked the hedgehog at point blank range. I was sleeping in the study room, and then a hooded... I tried to step back and put some distance between us, but the hedgehog just inched closer. Anyway, a hooded weirdo. And then? I can't do this. I can't talk in this position. Your face is a little too close. Gently, I pushed the hedgehog's face back. Huh? Oh, I'm sorry, I just... The hedgehog finally backed off, seemingly unoffended. And then? Yes, so, anyway, trying to explain it was kind of a pain. It would have been too long to explain from the beginning, and I wasn't confident that I could even describe it right. I'm in trouble. I was very direct about my situation. Oh, you're in trouble. The hedgehog sat with his legs folded under him and had a very serious expression on his face. Well, it's because I've become small and my clothes fell off and I can't get out of the school. Nonsense, you're not small at all. The hedgehog waved his hand back and forth. I was much bigger before. I like my old size better. Really? I think this size is so much better. I appreciate the compliment, but now his face is getting close again. I wonder why he keeps bringing his face so close and twitching his nose. Do I smell weird or something? Maybe I smell sweaty. I got worried and tried to smell myself. It's hard to tell. Maybe I'm used to my own smell. Huh? Nah, you don't smell weird. Not at all. The hedgehog shook his arms and head. If that's the case, that's fine. For a brief moment, the hedgehog just silently stared at me. Miss, is it possible that... The hedgehog gently touched the tip of its black nose to mine. Huh? You're Alice? No, I'm not. I shook my head. I finally got away from that hooded person who kept calling me Alice, and now this hedgehog is saying it too? Ah, you're not? The hedgehog's shoulders sagged in disappointment. He doesn't need to get so down about it. He seemed really depressed by it, enough to make me start to feel bad. I'm not, but that Cheshire Cat person called me that. He wears a grey... Hood was the end of the sentence, but I doubt it reached his ears. The hedgehog grabbed my shoulders hard and shouted, Then you must be Alice, right? So forceful. But I'm trying to tell you, it's not true. Nah, if the Cheshire Cat says you're Alice, you must be her. The hedgehog was very matter-of-fact about it. I knew it. I thought you were her because your scent. Why did he suddenly get quiet? My scent? What about my scent? Huh? Oh, it's nothing. Really? Anyways, forget all that. Welcome back, our Alice. Ah! He hugged me with all his might and I was pretty unnerved about it. In Japan, this much physical affection from a stranger is very uncommon. Then again, I'm sure foreigners aren't used to being hugged by a hedgehog either. Plus, it kinda hurt. I'm so lucky, it's the bestest thing that I got to meet Alice. Ow, 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 ow. I only heard the rumours. I'm young, so I haven't met Alice, and Master said I'd probably never have the chance to meet you. But I always dreamed that one day I would definitely... And then the hedgehog became silent again. Heh. Did you just laugh? Huh? Nah, it's nothing. Really? I could have sworn I heard a disturbing laugh. Hey Alice, please come to our shop. The hedgehog squeezed my arms. Your shop? My master is a tailor. Please come visit. I want to share you with him too. What do you mean, share me? But the hedgehog was too excited to hear me. And you need some clothes, don't you? We carry Alice's clothes in our shop. Alice's clothes? Come, I'll escort you. Just right over there. Whoa! The hedgehog pulled me with extraordinary strength. I was basically dragged to my feet. But I don't have any money. We don't need any money. Money's no good to us. The hedgehog's nose twitched and a joyous expression appeared on his face for some reason. Led by the hedgehog, I made my way to the first floor. I went down the stairs with no small effort. Each step was roughly the same size as I was. As we descended, I saw that there were no doors that led out to the second or third floor. Oh, look at the little shop. Okay, we're here. The hedgehog stood in front of a classroom and turned to face me. Isn't this the clothing room? Nah, this is a tailor shop. The hedgehog pointed to a tiny door like the one on the 4th floor. Tailor, we make clothes. Next to it was a sign that said, Tailor, we make clothes. Now come on in, come in. Encouraged by the hedgehog, I went inside. Inside the clothing room, clothes, big and small, were strung about the place. There was an abundance of sizes, from doll-sized clothes to huge clothes. Who were these clothes for anyway? That nearly reached the ceiling. Surely there was something here that I could wear. A ladder hung down to the floor from the workbench. Over here, Alice. The hedgehog made his way through the forest of clothes and easily climbed the ladder. I followed him up. You're late. Where have you been loafing about? When we made it to the top, I ducked my head at the sound of a very intense voice shouting at us. You know that I don't have enough needles unless you're here. Patterned paper lay atop the fabric covering the desk. In front of it stood a man with his hands on his hips. Ah! He held several marking pins in his hand, though to a normal-sized human they would have seemed small. His face, I can't really see it. It was buried underneath an excessive amount of adhesive plasters bandages. Plaster master? I lightly covered my forehead. Oh no, another weird person. I'm sorry, master. As the hedgehog ran toward the plaster master, his body began to shake. The needles covered his body stood up on end. The plaster master pulled out several of these needles and began to pin the pattern paper to the fabric. Well, I am shrunk right now, so I guess it's hard for me to say what's normal anymore. And it's not good to expect strangers to be normal. As I tried to reassure myself, the plaster master's eyes met my own. What? Who are you, miss? Oh, that's all right, that's right. The hedgehog hopped up and stabbed the master's hand with his needles. Ouch! Ah, I'm sorry, master. You're always... I'm sorry, but never mind that, it's a customer. The master looked like he was burning with rage, but when he looked at me, he took a deep breath and his anger seemed to subside. Welcome, what can I do for ya? He sounds like a sushi restaurant chef. I've only been to restaurants that serve sushi on conveyor belts though. I would like some clothes. Clothes, I can make the best custom clothes for you. What are you looking for? The hedgehog immediately cut in. Master, we already have her clothes. What? What are you talking in your sleep or something? I haven't even taken orders from this young lady. No, that's not it. She's Alice. Alice? The master's eyes buried beneath those adhesive plasters bandages lit up. Honestly, that many bandages is ridiculous. I wonder how many he has stuck on him. That does he do with them when he takes a bath? Alice? The master staggered as if in shock. No, I'm... Welcome home, Alice. Overcome with emotion, the master spread his arms and rushed toward me. Ah! Without thinking, I ducked out of the way. I mean, it was purely instinct. Oh! Carried by his momentum, the master ran off the desk and dived into the floor. Ah, master! Oh, God, did I kill him? I'm sorry. It's quite all right. The master slowly climbed the steps again, though his footing was unsteady. He smiled and forgave me. He looks strange, but he's pretty nice person. But to meet the Alice, the master's face, though I could only see his eyes, was filled with emotion. It's hard to correct him when he's being so welcoming. Master, please bring Alice's clothes. The apprentice poked his master. That's right. All right, I'm going to go get them from the storage. You just sit tight for now, Alice. Hey, Harry, come help me. Okay. The master got down from the desk, and with Harry the Hedgehog in tow, they went through the door to the next room. It seems the clothing prep room is being used for storage. I'm not sure how, but it looks like I'm finally going to get some new clothes. Good. I feel really uneasy wearing just this scarf. I decided to sit on the edge of the desk and wait for them. I have been waiting for quite a while, but they are still not back yet. They're taking a long time. I wonder what they're doing. Are they in some kind of trouble? Perhaps there's something I can do to help. Feeling a little bored, I headed after them toward the storage room. When I got to the entrance, I could hear the master and his apprentice talking. That's bad. But the queen, if I quietly peeked inside and saw the master and his apprentice bent over, huddled together. It looked like they were consulting with each other about something. Excuse me. When I called out to them, the master screamed and jumped. Alice, what's wrong? What's wrong with you? Nothing at all. His behavior was too suspicious for that to be true. I was wondering if I could help with anything. Nope, there's nothing you can help with, nothing at all. Really? But it's fine. You just wait outside, Alice. We'll get prepared for you right away, okay? He grabbed me by my shoulders and quickly pushed me outside. Master, I can't carry by myself. Please help me. The hedgehog's miserable voice came from inside. Sure. The masters awkwardly walked back to him. What exactly is going on? Eventually, the two came out carrying a large white box. Thank you for waiting. Isn't this rather large? The box was about the size of a king-sized mattress. At least, that's how it looked from my current size. Nope, because these are Alice's clothes, said the master while he instructed Harry to open the lid. There was a red outfit inside the box. A very stylish red, almost a deep scarlet. To the side there was some white fabric and black shoes as well. I approached the master and looked down at the clothes. This is definitely too big. It does look like children's clothes, but it's still too big for me. Are you listening? There was no response. I looked up at the master to see him staring down at me. No, it's not big. It's not big at all. The master shook his head from side to side. His nose was twitching for some reason. Master, let's carry this to the fitting room. All right. At his apprentice's urging, the master quickly began to carry away the box. The fitting room was set up in the corner of the home ec room. It's definitely too big. Despite my insistence, I was ignored and the box of clothes was pushed into the fitting room. The fitting room was normal human-sized, and Harry seemed to struggle to close the curtain. He gave me a pleasant smile before closing the curtain all the way. Oh yeah, this is definitely too big. I looked down at the clothes inside the box. What other choice do I have? I just need to try them on and show them that they don't fit. I tried to drag it out of the box. There's no way around it. This outfit is just too big. Maybe a 3 or 4-year-old child could wear this, but it's still too big for me. It looked like a one-piece dress. When I saw what was underneath the clothes, I started to get flustered. Underwear? did they prepare this for me too? As if they knew I'm completely naked. I'm grateful, but it's a little scary. With some reluctance, I tried putting my arm through the sleeve. I didn't think of anything of it, of course. The sleeve alone looked like it could cover my entire body. It was so far from being the right size. But when I put my arm through, the once baggy sleeve shrunk down as if it were latching onto my arm. Huh? What is this? What's happening? One by one, each article of clothing I tried on shrunk down until they all fit me perfectly in the end. Can't understand it at all, but I'm tired of thinking and questioning how or why. And even if I do think about it, I doubt the answer can be found in my mind. This world is probably a lot more bizarre than I imagined. As I slowly began to accept the wonders of this world, I started to hear whispers again. I overhear secret conversations surprisingly often. Just one should be. The smell, I can't. Cat will. The best taste. Be okay. How is everything, Alice? Since I was eavesdropping, I became needlessly flustered when he called out to me. No, I just wait a little more. I took off the clothes that I had put on halfway. Could it be that this will also... Thinking that, I tried on the underwear and it immediately shrunk down to fit me. This might actually be pretty convenient. Feeling grateful, I put on all the clothes that had been laid out for me. The shoes, like the other articles of clothing, shrunk to fit me perfectly. I took a look at myself in the mirror. Oh, that's us! Oh, that's really cute! It was a scarlet apron dress. The clothes were like something out of a fairy tale. I furrowed my eyebrows at my reflection. Clothes this cute might be a little embarrassing. It feels more like a costume than an outfit. Alice, are you ready? From the other side of the curtain came Harry's voice. I guess it can't be helped. I'm not in a position to comment on the design, so I just needed to be grateful that I have clothes to wear. Yes, I replied, and the curtain opened. Oh, it looks great. It looks great. Harry bounded over toward me and fixed the ribbon of my apron. Yes, indeed, this is how Alice should look, said the master in a strangely joyful voice. His cheeks softened. It's not weird? I asked fearfully, but the master shook his head. Not at all. In fact, you not wearing that outfit? Now that's weird. I don't really understand, but thank you. It was a little embarrassing, but I felt a little relieved after being complimented. So what about payment? Harry had said payment wasn't necessary, but of course that wouldn't do. The fabric and tailoring was very high quality. If I had bought this dress, I think it would have been quite expensive. I couldn't imagine how much the shrinking would cost, though. About that. We don't need any payment. Harry forced himself up front, pushing the stammering plaster master to the side. He rubbed his tiny arms together. We don't need any payment, but we still thought we could have one. One what? I don't really have anything on me. Oh, stop, of course you do. Harry excitedly waved his arms about. If you say so, what would you like? Your arm. What? Your arm. Please give us one. Harry smiled as he made this unbelievable request. Huh? You have two of them, so just one should be fine, right? As he said that, Harry grabbed my right arm. My arm? What do you mean, my arm? What are you going to do with my arm? I couldn't quite process what was happening. What do they mean? They want my arm? Stop joking around, Alice. We're going to eat it, of course. Eat it? You're kidding, right? But I could tell from the look in their gleaming eyes that they weren't joking at all. My arm doesn't taste good. It definitely won't taste good. I shook my head so fiercely it felt like it would fly off. What are you talking about, Alice? Of course it'll be delicious. You smell really good. His nose has been twitching this whole time. Has he been smelling me? Alice's meat is sweet and melts in your mouth. Such a rare, one-of-a-kind delicacy, muttered the master as if he were in a stupor. Drool ran down the corners of his mouth. These people, they're serious. I'm going to be eaten? No! I tried to run away, but the master tackled me to the floor. My chin hit the floor hard with a loud bam. It's okay, Alice. It'll be over quick. Master, please hold her down, okay? I heard the sharp sound of a rubbing metal. The hedgehog was holding a giant pruning shears. No, not my arm, not my arm. Oh, so your leg then? Not my leg either, not anything. Stop moving, Alice. It will hurt more if you keep squirming. It's going to hurt either way. This is mean. I thought you guys were nice. After hearing my scornful words, Harry became flustered and started shaking his head. But we love you, Alice. And why are you doing this? Let you know what they say. We love you so much that we could just eat you up. That's just a figure of speech. You're not actually supposed to eat anyone. Then how about just one finger apiece? The master chimed in as if settling a disagreement. No, you can't. Alice, don't worry. We'll eat it all and not leave a single crumb. That's not what I'm worried about. Look, Master, you need to hold down her hand, okay? I was overpowered. My body was pushed down and my arms were being pressed against the floor. I felt the edge of the pruning shears against my shoulder. This can't be happening. My face turned pale. I felt like I would pass out. But if I passed out, I would definitely lose my arm. Okay, here I go. I closed my eyes and... screamed out loud. No, someone help me, no. Ah. Whose scream was that just now? It wasn't mine. I cautiously opened my eyes, and there stood the master with two yellow flowers sprouting from his head. Huh? Sewing pins decorated like plastic flowers were stabbed into the master's head. Behind him was a giant smiling face. Cheshire Cat, what are you doing? The Cheshire Cat said as he stabbed another sewing pin into the master's head. The master let out a small scream as another flower was forcibly planted into his head. If isn't the cat. The master smiled with a hint of fear. If you tease Alice too much, I'll eat you. There. This time, a blue flower sprouted from a new sewing pin lodged into the master's head. No, I know that. The master frantically let me free. All right, time for work. Let's go, Harry, shouted the master, who was now in full bloom, as he dragged Harry by the nape of his neck. Oh, Master, I don't wanna. The master dragged Harry away, despite his whines of I want to eat Alice, and hurriedly climbed up the steps to the desk. Dumbfounded, I watched them go up. As always, all I could see was his grinning mouth. As I looked at the giant mouth, tears started to stream down my face. Is this person planning to eat me too? Is he going to open his big mouth and swallow me whole? I started to whimper. I don't taste good. The Cheshire Cat shook his head slightly. Alice is delicious. No, I'm not, so don't eat me, okay? I won't eat you, Alice. I looked at his giant smiling face. I can't see his eyes, so it's hard to see if he's telling the truth or not. Really? In that case, you look delicious, though. I can't lower my guard around him. So you got clothes. The Cheshire Cat said that was good and poked at the ribbon of my apron, which had started to come loose, to fix it. Now, Alice, let's chase the White Rabbit. No, I don't want to. I quickly looked away. Everyone loves you so much, Alice, so if you're all alone... The Cheshire Cat purred loudly. You'll be eaten. I don't want that. I don't want to be loved like I'm food. Not one bit. I'll go with you. I decided to retract my previous statement. You're a good girl, Alice. Satisfied, the Cheshire Cat nodded and picked me up in his hand. As I let him lead me, I muttered in a defeated tone. Like I keep telling you, I'm not Alice. But how are we going to find him? Where did the rabbit run off to? In the Cheshire Cat's arms, I looked at the grinning face. Who knows? Who knows? Then there's no way to start looking for him. Fallen remnants. Remnants of the White Rabbit's memory. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? There are remnants of memory scattered across his beaten path. His explanation just left me more confused. That's fine, I'll put that aside for now. Basically, we just need to look for the lost rabbit. It'd be nice if he had some carrots. Carrots? The Cheshire Cat parroted. Judging from his reaction, he seemed like he wasn't sure what a carrot was. We can use them as bait, can't we? He might come out when he's hungry. A white rabbit doesn't like carrots. Really? Don't rabbits normally love carrots? The white rabbit loves you, Alice. To eat? To eat. To... When did rabbits become carnivorous? That's a strange thing to eat. I think eating a human would make your stomach hurt. I suddenly realized something. Could it be that he's trying to use me as bait to lure out the rabbit? I don't want to get eaten, okay? Not an arm, not even a finger, okay? The Cheshire Cat nodded fully. I won't do anything you don't want me to do, Alice. Is that true? I feel like he's already done a lot of things I didn't want him to do. I looked back at his grinning face with suspicion. Oh well, he did save me after all. I can at least return the favour by helping him look for the white rabbit. Rabbit. I guess we have to look for it the old-fashioned way. Remember to no one in particular. What should we do? I started to survey my surroundings. Doesn't seem to be here in the clothing room. The Cheshire Cat and I decided to move on to the next room. The AV room should have been on the third floor, but for some reason it was next to the clothing room. It was strange, but compared to everything else that has happened so far, it wasn't that strange. Humans are known for adapting to their environment. The curtain was closed when I entered, and the room was dim inside. Red light from the sunset trickled in from between the thick curtains. The blackboard was covered by a retractable screen hanging from the ceiling. Behind the desk, a projector was mounted on top of its stand. I wonder if someone left this out by accident and went home. The Cheshire Cat set me down on the projector stand. It didn't seem like the white rabbit was in this classroom. Looks like the white rabbit isn't here either, I said as I casually flipped the projector switch. Well, it was dark and the screen was down. That's practically an invitation to flip the switch. The projector began to whir and a video soon appeared on the screen. It looked like it was filmed in the city. A wide street, a maintained sidewalk, trees lined up along the road, and lots of people were walking around. Huh? I've seen this before. I watched the video as if it were beckoning to me. A white, stylish building. The entrance automatic doors opened as people shuffled in and out. Beneath their feet, a red mat was laid out. I could make out words written in gold lettering on the mat. Hotel Brun Lièvre. Lièvre? Ah, I know this hotel. It's in front of the train station. I checked the video to be sure. Yes, there's no mistaking it. But why was this video filmed? It didn't seem like a particularly informative video about much else. Among the throng of people busily coming and going, there was one person who stood still. Hey, is that a person? A blue button-up shirt and grey slacks and long white ears. It was the rabbit person I met in the classroom. Even in the video he was blurred and transparent. Because of that, I couldn't make out his face. The white figure shimmered a little. He slowly entered the crowd and vanished into the hotel. At that moment, the projector clicked and the screen immediately went dark. The video stopped there. Did you see that just now? I tugged on the Cheshire Cat's robe. I saw. That was a rabbit, wasn't it? Indeed it was. It really was a rabbit. I wasn't hallucinating or imagining it. Hey, what? I was about to ask what the rabbit was, but I caught myself. The hooded greeting man looked down at me. This Cheshire Cat fellow gets weirder and weirder. What is it, Alice? I'm thinking I should address the mysterious person in front of me before I deal with the mysterious person in the video. What's a mysterious person? Someone suspicious. Like you. Are you a mysterious person, Alice? How rude. I'm not... I tried to say I was normal, but the words wouldn't come. Normal? What is normal anymore? When I've shrunk down? Am I not normal? I scowled. After contemplating, I quickly raised my head and announced, Normal! Yes, so what if I shrank? It's no big deal. If you live a long time, that kind of stuff is bound to happen. I'm normal, so this is the grinning So is the grinning hooded man and the talking hedgehog and the bandage-covered plaster master. Everyone is normal. Even the transparent rabbit who walks on two legs. Rabbit? A thought occurred to me and I looked up at the Cheshire Cat. The rabbit, could it be? By chance, was that the white rabbit you're looking for? There is no other white rabbit. I strongly disagreed with the opinion, but there was no time for debate. That's right, so it's not just some small animal. In that case, I can at least agree that it won't be lured by carrots. Did Mr. White Rabbit have business at the hotel? I flipped the switch to play the video again. Huh. But this time only white noise appeared and the video refused to play. That's weird, but I know for a fact that there was the hotel in front of the train station. Do you want to try going to the hotel? I cautiously proposed to the Cheshire Cat. I hoped he would say, since we found a clue, don't worry, I can take it from here. The Cheshire Cat grinned and instead of fulfilling my hope, he picked me up. I guess I'm going with him after all. After opening the curtain and unlocking the window, it opened so easily I was almost disappointed. Carried by the Cheshire Cat, I finally managed to escape the school. Chapter 2. The Hotel of Maddening Noise. Branlev. I don't know how to pronounce that. Atop the Cheshire Cat's shoulders, we left the school and made our way toward the train station. There was not a single person to be found in the city. The train station at sunset, around this time, it usually got crowded as people started their commute home. But no one was there. The shops all had their shutters raised and their goods on display, but no one was standing in line or operating the tills. Empty cars were stood in the road at traffic lights. The cars didn't move when the lights turned green, but that goes without saying. And the head vanished off the face of the earth. I wonder if the Mary Celeste was like this, I remembered as I looked around. Mary? It's a famous incident where a ship's passengers suddenly disappeared. Oh, take her right here. The Cheshire Cat turned a corner next to a crepe shop. Despite the staff's absence, a sweet smell still lingered in the air. While I fretted, the Cheshire Cat leisurely strolled through the quiet city. Yeah, all the things considered, though, this might be for the best. If someone saw us, they'd put us in a freak show. Tiny shrunken girl and a man with a Glasgow smile. I decided to be positive about my situation. We passed through the ghost town that was once a thriving city and arrived at Hotel Branlev. Lev? I don't know. After passing through the automatic doors, the Cheshire Cat walked, or rather he slid, across the fluffy carpet. In the lobby, a chandelier hung from the ceiling, dispersing the light in all directions. But although the front desk was illuminated, there was no concierge to assist us. Doesn't look like anyone is here either. As soon as I said that, I heard a loud noise from the back, the unmistakable sound of something breaking. I looked toward the source of the sound, then looked up at the Cheshire Cat's smiling face. What could this be? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The sound we heard had come from a restaurant inside the hotel called Inaba, but when we went inside, we discovered a mysterious and enormous object. That much I could see, but I couldn't identify what it was because it was so big that it couldn't all fit in my field of vision. Whatever it was definitely something weird. The Cheshire Cat backed up to the edge of the restaurant, allowing me to see all of it. Oh, the object was actually a big woman. Actually, calling her just big might be an understatement. She just looks so big because I'm small, right? The woman's head nearly touched the ceiling. She towered over the dining table in front of her. A feast was spread before her, and she was devouring it at a remarkable pace. She ate messily with her hands, and a section of tablecloth in front of her was wet and sticky with food scraps. How ferocious! Who could that be? She's the Duchess. The Duchess? Is she an acquaintance of yours? The Cheshire Cat nodded. This woman didn't have a fraction of elegance that the title Duchess conveys, but everything she wore looked expensive, including her white dress that looked ready to burst and her pearl necklace that was practically strangling her. While I was staring at her with my mouth open, the Duchess gathered all the food on the table in her arms, and then she devoured everything at once, plates and all. A loud, unearthly chewing sound resonated through the room. Won't she cut her mouth? It'll be okay. After all, she's the Duchess. The Cheshire Cat replied with an answer that answered nothing. We watched the Duchess as she managed to swallow everything in her mouth. All the food on the table, as well as the dinnerware, was gone. The Duchess stared silently at the empty table. Maybe she's full? But no sooner did I think that the Duchess began to ring the giant bell on the table. Instinctively, I covered my ears. The sound was 10 times more terrible than the sound of the lottery bells in the shopping district. The back door opened and out jumped a stumbling footman holding a silver tray. Cheshire Cat, look, it's a frog! Yes, there's a frog, remarked the Cheshire Cat. It was a green frog, roughly the size of a child. It walked capably on 2 legs. On top of that, it wore a white shirt with a bow and tie and a tuxedo vest. Judging from his appearance, he looked like an excellent restaurant server. Several frogs jumped out and followed the first one. They all held a dish of food in one hand. Just as frogs served food on the table, the Duchess let go of the bell and began to devour. Everyone looks really busy. I began to scan the restaurant, taking everything in. As my eyes darted toward the other end of the table, I could see there was another seat surrounded by dishes. Someone else was sitting there, slumped face down on the table, practically buried in all the different dishes. I looked at the Duchess, the frogs, and the mysterious person slumped on the table, and considered my options. Who should I ask regarding the white rabbit? Maybe the slumped person? Because I know the Duchess tries to eat Alice. We approached the face-down person on the opposite side of the table. The full-course meal in front of the person was basically untouched. A small man lay passed out, surrounded by decadent dishes. In his hand, he gripped a silver fork. Wow, this guy's hair is white. Is he an old man? As I got closer, I heard a small whimper. Excuse me, are you okay? Asked the man after I was set on the top of the table. I can't do this anymore. He muttered in a vacant voice, his face still down. I'm sorry to bother you when you're tired, but we're looking for the white rabbit. Have you seen him? It's over. It's no use. He's not listening. I looked at the Cheshire Cat and shook my head. Looks like he's too preoccupied to answer us. Let's try going to the kitchen. The frogs look busy, but whoa! I suddenly stumbled and nearly fell. Because as I was trying to get on the Cheshire Cat's hand, something else had tugged me in the opposite direction. When I looked back, the man was pulling on the hem of my skirt. His face was still down. Are you all right? I asked again, and the man finally raised his body. Oh, he's actually pretty young. Well, he was younger than I thought, but he was still middle-aged. Considering how exhausted he looked, I suppose he was in his late 30s. His white hair looked foppish, and it curled tightly near his ears. For a moment, I remembered the portrait of Mozart in our music room. As I recall, his hair was supposed to be a wig, but this looked like his real hair. A few strands around his face were askew. The left side of his curled hair was pressed in a disarray. He looked haggard and skinny with dark circles under his eyes. He didn't look well at all. What exactly happened to you? Upon my questioning, the man introduced himself as the Duke. Naturally, he was the Duchess's husband. Despite appearances, the two were married. We hosted the wedding reception here. The Duke began to explain in a gloomy voice. And since then, my wife's appetite won't stop. It won't stop? She has been constantly eating since then. How long do you mean? It's probably been about 12 years by now. 12 years? That's amazing, in every sense of the word. We've been here ever since we got married. Oh, so the Duchess's dress is a wedding dress. Why didn't you just tell her to stop? To me, 12 years seems like a really long time. Before we got married, I told her that I would do whatever she said if she married me. Oh. Whenever I suggest we go home, she just says, "So you don't love me anymore?" For her to ask that, don't cry. You must really love your wife. Aren't you going to eat? I looked at the food that was spread before the Duke. Though it was plated beautifully, it looked rather dried out. It seemed like much time had passed since the food was served. Perhaps it's none of my business, but I think you're the one who should be eating. The skinny, haggard Duke looked at me and said, "My stomach is very sensitive, so when I see her eat like that, watching it makes me..." The Duke clutched his stomach in pain. I understand how watching someone eat can make someone lose their appetite. It can be especially rough if they have a sensitive stomach too. But Duke, you agreed to marry her. Why don't you just suck it up? You're a couple after all. The Duke just glared at me. You think this problem is beneath you, don't you? I turned my head to the side and stuck out my tongue. I mean, technically, this was not my problem. By the way, did you say you were looking for the White Rabbit? I asked the Duke, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. Good, we're finally getting to the point. Yes, we are. Do you know anything about the White Rabbit? We think he's been here before. I wonder. What's with this mocking tone? Do you know something? Please tell us. The Duke continued to look at me. Who are you, anyway? You're pretty small. What are you going to do once you find the White Rabbit? She's Alice. Before I even finished saying my name, the Cheshire Cat answered for me. Well, I should have expected that. Upon hearing his answer, the Duke straightened up on his seat. Alice? You're Alice? Welcome home, Alice. The Duke grabbed my hands and started to cry. Huge drops of water started falling from above my head. Don't cry so much, I'll get all wet. After crying for a bit, the Duke finally let me go. He took a white handkerchief from his breast pocket and blew his nose in it. Alice, my stomach is just so sensitive. He looked at me very intently, so I felt like I had to say something. Oh, that's too bad, but my wife's stomach is too strong. That's too bad. If this keeps up, I'll die. Do you think so? If he could hold out for 12 years, I feel like he'll be okay. The Duke gripped the silver fork tightly. No, I'd rather just die. Wait, it's not good to be too hasty. The Duke stared at me. I started to have a bad feeling about this. Alice, would you please help me? Huh? Please make my wife stop eating somehow. What kind of request is that? If you do, I'll tell you about the White Rabbit. For someone with a frail constitution and weak stomach, he's pretty shrewd. I thought about it for a while. All right, I guess I have no choice. Reluctantly, I accepted. It couldn't be helped. At that moment, he was our only lead to the White Rabbit. Thank you, Alice. All right, then, what should we do? I stood on the table, arms crossed, glanced at the Duchess. She really has a voracious appetite. Something that tastes terrible, use force to stop her, try to threaten her, stop bringing out food? I know, why don't we have the frog stop bringing out food? She'll have to give up if there isn't any food to eat. The Duke tilted his head cautiously. I don't think you should do that. Why? I know it's a simple plan, but it might actually work. Well, you could try, but several frogs will likely die. Huh? The last one and only time they stopped bringing out food, she ate one of the frogs that came out to bust the table. Ate? That's why the frogs are so desperate to keep bringing food. This plan is no good. If she eats all the frogs, she'll definitely eat me next. But I'm not sure about a person who'll eat frogs if she runs out of dishes to eat. And a husband who can love someone like that has issues too. You may be the most understanding husband in the world. Maybe try threatening her? Threaten? The Duke drew back his face in shock. Violence isn't... I don't mean violence, just words. Say something like, if you don't stop eating, I'll kill myself. It's a bit unfair, but... Oh, that. The Duke slumped his shoulders. I tried that a long time ago. Oh, really? How did it go? She ignored me. Hey, so here's an idea. Oh, did you think of something? Maybe she doesn't love you? I'm beginning to think this is impossible. Please don't say that. The Duke squeezed me desperately in his hands. Ouch! The Duke looked at me with a puzzled expression. Come to think of it, you're rather small, aren't you, Alice? I feel like you were a little bigger when we first met ages ago. I didn't choose to be small. Some stuff happened and I ended up becoming small. Or was I forced to become small? Wait, huh? I looked at the Duke carefully. Ages ago? Do you mean to say we've met before? Of course. I thought about it briefly, then shook my head. Can't remember. Maybe it was someone else? No, it was you, Alice. Maybe it was a different Alice then. You're the only Alice. Like I said, I'm not Alice. But the Duke wasn't listening to me. Oh, it would be wonderful if my darling became this small too. Oh, now there's an idea. What? The Duke loosened his grip and I immediately opened his hands and freed myself. Why don't you make her small? Then you can carry her like the Cheshire Cat carries me, and she won't be able to eat anymore. But won't she be angry? Asked the Duke fearfully. It's fine, shrinking doesn't hurt, and it's okay if she gets mad, especially if you consider how much she's already eaten. That can't be healthy for her. But I don't want her to hate me. You really love your wife, don't you? I sighed mostly in admiration. Well, they were technically newlyweds. In that regard, it was charming, but that didn't mean I could just sit here and smile about it. You'll be a cuckold someday with that attitude. What? Well, everyone knows that a man who's too sweet is too boring. I'm not entirely sure that's true, though. Personally, I think nice guys are great. But if I'm speaking generally, a man who's too sweet is too boring, isn't it? The Duke seemed to be in shock. No, that can't be, but maybe she... But then he started muttering to himself. I decided to leave the Duke, who seemed lost in his own little world, and turned to face Cheshire Cat. The question is, where can we get more of that bread arm? The Cheshire Cat faraway face came close to my own. It seemed he bent down to talk to me. Bread is at the bakery. You think so? Would a bakery really make such a creepy bread? If you're looking for a bakery, the Duke cut in, having come back to us, you can find one in the basement. Oh yeah, sure, the basement. Bakery? The basement has become a shopping mall of sorts, so it's not out of the ordinary for hotels to have boutiques or small gift shops, but could there really be a bakery? I believe I saw a strawberry jam bread there too. You mean the white arm bread? I looked at Cheshire Cat and he nodded softly. Then you should go buy some yourself and have her eat it. You really didn't need to send us on an errand. With a huff, the Duke sighed unnaturally. Alice, my stomach is just so sensitive. I know, you told me. If I go to a place like that, I'll die. Huh? A place like what? What's that supposed to mean? It's just a simple bakery, right? My eyes widened, but the Duke just waved his hand at me. Oh, but if you go, Alice, it'll be fine. I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. Fine then. I don't expect the surprisingly resilient Duke to die anytime soon if I leave him. But I'm worried about these frogs who have been worked to death. Well, Cheshire Cat, let's try visiting this bakery. At that, the Cheshire Cat grinned. As you wish, our Alice. We rode the elevator to the basement and arrived at a shopping mall. Of course, there's no one here either. Lights were on and there, but there was no sign of people. A pond made of tile rested in the center of the floor. In the middle of the pond stood a white statue of a woman, posed as if she was holding something reverently in her left hand. She was like the Lady of the Lake. At the far end, there were 5 or 6 shops in a row. Among them, 2 were bakeries. 2 bakeries in a hotel basement seemed unnecessary, but I decided it was best not to ask. The two bakeries were diagonally across from each other. The bakery closest to us displayed Tsuruka Pastry Shop on a sign out front. It looked like a bakery shop you'd find in downtown Tokyo. The other bakery displayed Kamida Bakery on a sign out front. This shop had a more Western style feel to it. Let's look in the one closest to us for now. At my urging, the Cheshire Cat headed towards Tsuruka Pastry Shop. A curtain was pulled over the windows and glass door so we couldn't see inside. Perhaps no one is here. The Cheshire Cat tried pulling on the door handle, but it wouldn't open. It seemed to be locked. I asked the Cheshire Cat to put me down, and I pressed my ear against the door. I heard faint sounds coming from inside. It sounded like there were people in there. I banged on the door and called out, "Excuse me." I heard rustling. There are definitely people inside, but no matter how much we waited, no one came to answer. Maybe they're closed today. Just when I was about to give up, a muffled voice came from the other side of the door. "What's the best anpan?" What? The sudden question took me by surprise. What's the best anpan? The voice repeated itself, sounded like a little annoyed, but I had no idea what it was talking about. What's the best what? Smooth paste or chunky paste? Smooth? If you're asking me to choose, maybe smooth? Before I could even finish answering, the door swung open. Oh look, there were people. Your wife is... What? A drawn katana glinted in the light, that much I saw. There was barely time for me to panic or shut my eyes, and even less time for me to understand what was happening. Die, look out. What? A storm of sound and violence swirled around me. Suddenly, I felt myself getting grabbed by my torso and shaken fiercely. I'm getting dizzy. What on earth is happening? Desperately, I tried leaning forward to check my surroundings, when I noticed I was being held by a young, tan-skinned man who was sliding along the ground. Who is this? The man got up quickly. At the same time, loud popping noises reverberated around me. Are those gunshots? I've never heard the real thing before. Hurry, over here. The man quickly stood up and kept his head down as he ran to Kamida Bakery. I didn't exactly have a say in this while I was in his grip. We entered Kamida Bakery as an all-out gunfight seemed to rage outside. What is going on? I struggled against the tan man's grip. He ran on top of the table and lifted me over his head. You boys, this chick is a smooth paste supporter. Cheers erupted. What's a smooth paste supporter? Surrounded by loud chants of smooth paste, I had no idea what was going on. Smooth paste, smooth paste. Let's fight together, comrades. Wait, I don't understand what's going on at all. These people are Anpan. Upon hearing the familiar voice, I turned around and saw the Cheshire Cat standing at the edge of the table. He seemed to have avoided getting hit by stray bullets. What does that mean? Anpan means Anpan. What do you mean by Anpan? Anpan is a pastry filled with red bean paste. I know what Anpan is. Why are they shaped like humans? Why can they move around? Why do they talk? Bread can move and talk too, Alice. Oh, I'm feeling a little faint. I've learned from my experience so far that there is no point in arguing about these things. I looked around at the Anpans again. Oh, God, that's terrifying. They were all tanned with shaved heads. Their skin was unusually glossy, but their bodies looked sturdy. They looked like a gang of bodybuilders. Their only article of clothing was a loincloth. The words Kamida Bakery were stitched to the hems with matching lettering. I wonder if their eyebrows and teeth are made of bread too. The attention to detail is impressive. Welcome, Toots. An Anpan with pickled cherry blossoms on his head greeted me. Thank you. Why are you fighting with the Tsuruka pastry shop across the way? Over there's chunky paste turf. This here's smooth paste turf. What? Huh? We battle to decide which gang is a true Anpan. The true Anpan? That's right. Red bean paste should be smooth or chunky. It's a sacred battle where we put our pride and faith on the line to settle, said an Anpan behind me with poppy seeds on his head. It seemed they're free to put whatever toppings they please on their head. The second Anpan wore added the Cheshire Cat in a whispered tone. It was so ridiculous I started to feel lightheaded. Oh, that really matters. I meant to say it under my breath, but it suddenly got so quiet inside the bakery that you could hear a pin drop. Oh no. I felt a shiver go up my spine. It doesn't matter? Is that what you said, Toots? The Unpans started to crowd around me. The Unpan's hand that was holding me began to shake. I then realized that every gun in the room was pointed at me. I shook my head fiercely. No, I didn't mean it's not important. I just meant that I like them both. Both? Oh crap, I just added fuel to the fire. Spy! Traitor! Kill her! Kill her! A strange hysteria began to spread. The hand that gripped me began to squeeze even tighter. Am I going to die? I never thought I'd be killed by Unpans. You really never know where life can take you. Wait, this is no time to be... you really never know where life can take you. Wait, this is no time to be... Cheshire Cat, don't just stand there smiling. Do something. The Cheshire Cat tilted his head, flashing his faint smile. But Alice, cats are creatures that smile. That doesn't matter right now. The commotion came to a sudden stop. Alice? She's Alice? The quiet buzzing soon gave way to loud cheers. Alice! Oh, Alice! Welcome home, Alice! Couldn't keep up with what was happening. I just stood there with my mouth open. Then, one Unpan with sesame overhead stepped forward. The cheering came to a sudden halt. He seemed to be their leader. Lady Alice. Lady? You are our saviour. Saviour of bread? There was not the time to be confused. Things had taken a turn for the ridiculous. We've been waiting for you. You are the one who will put an end to this long battle. I'm not, and never have been such an important person. I shook my head fervently, but the Unpans did not listen to me at all. The leader raised his hand high. Alice's words are the words of heaven itself. Now please proclaim the righteousness of the smooth Unpan's gang. Righteous? What's the righteous about Unpan? Just then, the door of Comida Bakery flew open with a loud slam. Hold on a second. Another gang of Unpan stood at the entrance. Their loincloths had Suroka pastry shop written on top. But otherwise they look the same. This looks like it's about to get complicated. I clutched my head. Good cowboy, smooth paste bastard. We won't let you bend Alice's to your whims, shouted the chunky paste Unpans as they ready their katanas. Cowardly? The smooth paste Unpans began to get excited. Pipe down and cram it. If you're not cowards, why do we take this outside? Let us fight like honourable Unpan for Alice. Wait, you can't just bet. Alright, we'll take that bet. At least let me finish talking. We'll make you eat those words. I said, but the time for talk had ended, and I was carried out of the shop. Wielded katanas. Palpable tension filled the shopping mall as both sides stared at each other. You've got to be kidding me. If I'm thrown into the middle of this battle, I'll die for sure. It's too pathetic to get killed over red bean paste. Stop! Violence isn't good. It's not good at all. As I cried at the top of my lungs, the Unpans froze in place. They all looked at me. I stammered from the weight of their gaze. Don't stare at me. I'll get nervous. The words of Alice are the words of heaven itself. Cheshire Cat suddenly spoke as a song-like tone. You too? Why are you saying that now? Yes, that's right. Only Alice can decide this. What? Alice. Alice. Bring Alice to the conference area. Let us receive the gift of her wisdom. The Unpans assembled in the middle of the shopping mall in front of the Lady of the Lake. I had been placed on top of her hand, which pointed toward the heavens. Hey, wait a second. My word is not the word of heaven. I'm telling you, I'm not that important. But my scream was drowned out by the chants of Alice, Alice, Alice. No, what should I do? I have no choice. If it's come to this, I just have to make a decision. I stood up and yelled, Quiet! The commotion stopped at once. I understand a decision will be made. However, I calmed down the commotion that was about to start again. I am not the one who will make the decision. Everyone will. We're going to discuss it. Discuss it? That's right. It's not good to resort to violence to settle things without discussing it first. It's not good at all. The Unpun stirred. After a while, a consensus was reached. Well, if Alice says so, alright, I guess. I sighed in relief. For the time being, it seemed we had managed to avoid an all-out gang war. Well, let's throw our weapons away, then we start talking. But the Unpun just glared at each other and refused to let go of their weapons. I guess I have to walk them through this step by step. Okay, then let's throw them away together. If even one Unpun is still holding a weapon, that side admits defeat. Okay, let's do it. Ready? Go. At my command, the Unpuns quickly threw their weapons away. Okay, now, leaders come forth. The leaders of the chunky Unpuns and the smooth Unpun stood and came forward. Okay, well, first you have to appeal to one another. Yes, can we start with the smooth Unpuns? I'm getting nervous. It's my first time moderating anything like this. The leader of the smooth Unpuns cleared his throat with an arrogant cough. I'll start us off, if you don't mind. Now then, no matter what anyone says, smooth red bean paste is most pleasing to the tongue, so lustrous, so smooth. Chunky red bean paste, by comparison, is just awful. The rough skin of the beans just gets stuck in your teeth. Unyielding, the leader of the chunky Unpun countered. Such talk is a sign of immaturity. A connoisseur would pick chunky red bean paste. Only the truly enlightened know that it is the best red bean paste. It is on a completely different level than smooth red bean paste. How absurd. Chunky red bean paste is just incomplete smooth red bean paste. If you want to talk levels of completion, our standards are way higher than yours. The beans are left incomplete on purpose, for that is true Japanese beauty and simplicity. If you don't understand that, then you don't deserve to call yourselves Unpun. Grr. The leader of the smooth Unpun growled. Maybe smooth Unpun is inferior. The leader of the chunky Unpun seemed to view this as an opportunity that he rushed in for the attack. Furthermore, I feel smooth red bean paste is bland and lacks variety, wouldn't you agree? Chunky red bean paste can be used in shaved ice, soup, and mochi. We are present in many food categories. I'm sure that must be difficult for Unpuns who lack the versatility to do their jobs properly to understand. As if regaining his dignity, the leader of the smooth Unpun huffed loudly through his nose. I guess we're just not as flighty as you lot are. How do you expect to stay true to the essence of red bean paste if you all keep spreading yourselves so thin? Go right ahead, dabble in shaved ice, soup, and mochi, but don't you dare call yourselves Unpun. Such unfaithful bean paste could never understand the honour of an Unpun. Grr. The leader of the chunky Unpun shook his fist. Wait, what is the honour of an Unpun anyway? We are so versatile. You mean you're a jackass of all trades and a master of... Besides, you can make soup with smooth red bean paste too, and shaved ice and mochi too. Then you're a jackass of all trades too. The crowd stirred with cries of what did he just call us? And the stirring grew. The area started to become chaotic. Alice, what are your thoughts? Huh? Me? I had slipped into the role of bystander and was started to be addressed. When I looked at both leaders, they were looking at me intensely along with the audience. I needed to be careful about what I say here. I desperately searched my brain. If I side with one of them, there will definitely be bickering, so, Alice, please give us your opinion. The Unpun surrounded me. I think... Hey, why don't we try to get along? After all, you're all the same Unpun, and that's why we can't forgive them. The chunky and smooth Unpun shouted simultaneously. You have more in common than you realize. I like you both the same. I think there are good qualities to each of you. That's not good enough. You must choose a side. You must come to a decision. Which do you prefer, us or them? It's starting to sound like a fight between a cheater's lovers. I said I like you both the same. There's no contest. You're both great Unpuns. Then picture this. It's the last day of your life. A smooth Unpun and a chunky Unpun are placed in front of you. Which do you eat? What? What's that supposed to prove? Please just answer the question, Alice. No, there's no way I can choose. Whichever one I don't choose will just get angry. I just start to get annoyed. No matter what I choose, a fight will break out. You guys don't even want to stop fighting, do you? The hall grew quiet. I must have touched a nerve. Some time passed and the leader of the Chunky Unpun spoke. No, Alice, we're all honourable Unpun. We will respect your words. Yes, we will not fight, but in return, please speak the truth. We would like to hear your true feelings about this. The smooth Unpun leader looked up at me with a serious expression on his face. Oh boy, they're serious about this. Okay, I understand. I need to answer honestly. My true feelings. I close my eyes and try to imagine it. The last meal of my life. In front of me are two Unpuns. Now, Alice, your true feelings. Neither. What? I wouldn't eat an Unpun as my last meal. What? Screams echoed through the wall. The leader of the smooth Unpuns pointed a shaky finger at the chunky Unpun leader. This is your guy's fault. You're all so friggin' unappealing. How dare you? I'll make you eat those words. With an excuse to fight, the smooth Unpuns and chunky Unpun broke into a melee. Torn Unpun limbs flew through the air. Well, I'm really glad I took away their weapons. As I thought quietly to myself, my body began to suddenly float. I quickly realized that the Cheshire Cat had picked me up. I smelled strawberry jam bread coming from the Tsurukura store, Alice. For a moment, I had no idea what he meant by that. Oh yeah, we're here to look for the strawberry jam bread. I completely forgot. That's not good. So I think I learned something from all this, I said as I climbed up the Cheshire Cat's shoulder. What, Alice? When it comes to sensitive problems like this, an outsider really shouldn't meddle in them. Also, I don't want to eat Unpun on my last day alive. Words of wisdom from our Alice. Carried by the Cheshire Cat, we bypassed the uproarious square and headed toward the Tsuroka pastry shop. I searched inside the Tsuroka pastry shop until I made it to the far side of the kitchen. There was a placard on the door. Fresh baked strawberry jam bread. Well, that makes things easy. Accompanied by the Cheshire Cat as per usual, we proceeded forward. Upon opening the door, we were bombarded by voices. Eat me, please eat me. 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 Looking inside, there was a cage, and in it were several young boys with identical pale faces, crowded together and being rather noisy. Their heads were shaved and their cheeks were puffy and white. They shoved each other aside to grab onto the steel bars of the cage. Eat me, please eat me. 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 But who are these kids? They're strawberry jam bread. These kids are? Now that I think about it, their pale skin looks a lot like that arm from the school building. Why are they in a cage? Because people will die if they're not in captivity. What? That's weird. That actually sounded like a dangerous reason. Even among bread, strawberry jam bread has a particularly deep obsession with being eaten. A long time ago, the dodo bread was confronted by a gang of them, and it died due to overeating. For that reason, it was decided that we would keep the strawberry jam breads locked away. It was the last dodo too, mused the Cheshire Cat, though he didn't seem too torn up about it. That's quite an unfortunate history. If you're not too hungry, we should only take one of them. Well, remember, I'm not the one who's going to be eating. I looked in the steel cage. Eat me, please eat me. 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 They looked so bright-eyed, trying to get me to pick one of them. What's the matter, Alice? Doesn't it feel like I'm a deranged serial killer choosing which boy to kidnap? Deranged? If we're going off appearances, though, I feel like the Cheshire Cat fits the bill more than I do. They really want to be eaten. Aren't they scared? Scared? I mean, I wouldn't want to be eaten. It's scary and probably hurts. Bread is meant to be eaten. Besides, the Cheshire Cat purred. If they don't get eaten soon, they'll be covered in mould. The Cheshire Cat's words, the strawberry jam bread boys began to whimper in fright. Mould? I'll start growing mold? Of course. Bread does get moldy after all. He picks the strangest times to spout conventional wisdom. But if that's the case, then it's in the bread's best interest to just hurry up and eat it. I suppose. Then let's pick one. I let my pointer finger wander. All the children had the same face. They all seemed so eager to be being eaten, but it didn't really matter to me which one I picked. It was hard to choose one when there were no differences between them. At the moment, I happened to notice a large box at the edge of the room. Hey, what do you think that box is? I poked the Cheshire Cat to move us in front of the box. It was made of white plastic and looked slightly dirty. It seemed to be some kind of large cooler. The lid was firmly clasped shut. On the side of the box, the word trash was scribbled in black marker. Trash? What could this be? Cheshire Cat, let's try opening it. As you wish, Alice. The Cheshire Cat set me down in front of the box and began to open the clasps. At that moment, the lid burst open as something flew out from inside. I had no idea what was happening, then something grabbed my torso and squeezed very, very tightly. Ow! Whoa, what's happening? Eerie spots of blue, green, and black covered the hand gripping me. The hand itself was brown and cracked. I twisted my body to look at the culprit's face, only to catch a glimpse of a silver, shining object pointed at my neck. Using only my eyes, I shifted them to see what the object was. It looked like a fork. However, at that moment I was very small. Even if it was a fork, to me it wasn't a fork at all. It's like the weapon of the pig in the Journey of the West. What was it called again? Don't move. I ducked my head in response to the culprit's roll. If you value your life, you better listen to my demands. The hoarse voice threatened. A foul stench wafted through the air. Strangely enough, the Strawberry Jam Boys, who were so rowdy before, were now huddled together in the cage, shaking in fear. They appeared to be scared of the culprit. As for the Cheshire Cat, he just watched me with his usual grinning face. He showed no sign of panic, but I had never seen the Cheshire Cat make an expression other than smiling, so I couldn't really tell if he was panicking or not. What are your demands? I vaguely remember being told that in these situations it's best not to get the culprit excited. I did my best to keep my voice calm. Then, eat me. What? I couldn't believe the ridiculous demand I just heard. But I hadn't misheard him. He didn't misspeak. Eat me, and you better do it like I'm delicious. Who are you? He's a strawberry jam bread. The Cheshire Cat answered instead of the culprit. He's just like the children in the cage, but his colour... That's because he's rotten bread. The Cheshire Cat calm's response seemed to work the culprit into a frenzy. Eat me! If you don't eat me, I'll kill you! He pressed the harrow fork harder against my throat. Ouch! Though his demand was pretty cute, there was absolutely nothing cute about his actions. He seemed deadly serious about all this. Why has bread always threatened to kill me? Maybe I have to look of someone who is destined to die by bread someday. Wait! Let's talk about this. I won't run away or anything, so please move this fork. I'll listen to what you have to say, okay? After a few wavering moments, the fork of the harrow was removed from my throat. Long ago, I was once a superbly baked strawberry jam bread, the envy of many. The rotten bread sat on the cooler that had been trapped in and let out a sigh. After he let me go, I climbed up to the Cheshire Cat's shoulder. Yeah, I definitely feel more at ease here. It's safer too. The whiteness of my skin, the smoothness of my grains, the sheen, my puffiness, my texture. There was no one who could best me in any of these categories. I listened intently to the little rotten bread story, but then I started to become curious about the inside of the Cheshire Cat's hood. Now that I think about it, I've only ever seen his mouth. What if he's balding? Or maybe he has horns? Of course, I was first to be bought. My life was supposed to end at that glorious moment. I snuck a peek inside the hood, but there was only darkness. A deep, deep darkness where nothing could be seen. But then, that stupid March hare, that mad fool bumped into me. I let out a little scream. The Cheshire Cat suddenly looked my way. What's the matter, Alice? Nothing. Hey, are you listening? I'm listening. Go on. The rotten bread looked at me suspiciously. I smiled at him and gestured for him to continue, and then he finally continued his story. Phew, that was close. Because the March Hare bumped into me, I ended up sliding across the floor, so that meant I was soiled goods. Then the customers wouldn't buy me. Instead, they bought the guys whose flavour was second to my own. The bastard laughed as he passed me by. Can you believe that? The rotten bread cried, enraged as I watched him. I asked the Cheshire Cat who the March Hare was. He's a hare who is mad all year round. If you want to speak to the March Hare, visit him on his birthday. Why? That's the only day he gets depressed. On any other day, he's too mad to have a decent conversation. Coming from the person who more or less never listened to what anyone says, his madness must be pretty bad. Did you want to see him? No, not at all. Forget about the March Hare. I tensed my shoulders in surprise. The rotten bread stood with his hands at his hips, seething with anger. I thought you said you would listen to my story. Didn't you, little girl? I'm sorry. I apologized frankly from the Cheshire Cat's shoulder. I'm sorry, I'll listen now, okay? The rotten bread glared at me for a while, then he finally sighed and sat on top of the cooler again. If you stop paying attention one more time, I'm gonna force my head down your throat. Understood. I kneeled on the Cheshire Cat's shoulder. I was sentenced to be trashed. I do think that it's really unfortunate, but Timothy tried to speak, but the little rotten bread waved his hand to hush me. I know, no matter how well I baked I was, rotten bread cannot be sold. It's a rule honoured by my people. But I couldn't give up. Why must I lose everything over a trivial incident? After just one accident, why must I lose the meaning of my existence? True. An unavoidable accident happens, and just like that, your destiny is changed forever. There is no way a person or bread can fight against that. It just takes what's important to you without any remorse. It took what was important to me. We are bread. We exist to be eaten. I will be eaten no matter what. After I made that vow, I threw tantrums every time the trash cart would come around. The rotten scraps stared off into the distance with feverish eyes. I managed to avoid being collected as trash, but no one ever appeared who said they wanted to eat me. Still, I waited. Someday, surely, a person will come who says they want to eat me. The rotten bread spread his arms and gazed at me. His hard, mouldy hands trembled slightly. How many months had passed since he was baked? He continued on, murmuring quietly. I waited and waited and waited, and before I knew it, I was like this. Mouldy, dried up, and smelling terrible. It gives me chills just thinking about it. And then I knew that no one was going to come for me. I knew. Roti. Wait, that name. Are you mocking me? I understood how Roti felt, trapped in a dark case, dreaming of a moment that will never come, knowing full well that it will never come. And despite knowing, being unable to shake off that glimmer of hope, someday, surely, you will. My vision started to blur. Hey? I heard Roti's puzzled voice, but his face was blurred as well. Am I crying? I'm sorry, that's weird. Just wait a moment. That's weird, my tears won't stop, no matter how many times I wipe away. They just keep falling. There's no use, I can't stop crying. It's just so sad and painful, to the point where it physically hurts. I use the Cheshire Cat's hood to wipe away my tears. This is no reason to cry, Alice, whispered the Cheshire Cat, more chiding than comforting. Alice? Are you Alice? Roti asked, surprised. Is that so? You're Alice. After saying that, Roti fell silent. I was too busy pressing my face into the Cheshire Cat's hood to stop my crying to see what expression Roti was making. Finally, I heard quiet, disheartened muttering. Alice cried for me. I'm not sure if I'm lucky or incredibly unlucky. What's happening to me? Tears keep flowing out like a pipe has burst. Whose pain is this? Roti's? Or mine? Roti kept looking at me for a while before he lightly poked my cheek with the silver fork. Ouch! He's pretty merciless. Hey, what's with all the tears? There's no reason for you to cry so much for me, Alice. I'm sorry. Just a moment. I'll stop. What am I doing? Roti is the one who's sad and hurt. Why am I being consoled? Desperately, I managed to stop my tears. After seeing me regain my composure, Roti stretched out and smiled. If you're Alice, I can't be feeding you something like me. I just shook my head. I didn't know what to say. I'm going to go on the trash cart tomorrow. Wait, no. Well, it's high time I left. But I am content just knowing how much you cried for me, Alice. Bread can't cry, explained the Cheshire Cat. But you've worked so hard, Rotty. I actually don't really like that name. But Alice gave me that name, so... grumbled Rotty. Maybe I've been looking for a sign, he muttered. A sign? Rotty looked back at me. His face was so sad, yet calm too. A sign to give up. Must you give up? Me too? Well, I did get to meet Alice in the end. Rotty poked my forehead with his finger. I guess my struggle hasn't been a complete waste, right? Rotty chuckled. No, that's not okay. I stood up quickly and clenched my fists. Someday, surely, you will. Sometimes it's okay for wishes that can't be forgotten to come true. Cheshire Cat, I've decided. I choose Rotty. Rotty's shocked face looked back at me. As you wish, Alice. With Rotty in tow, the Cheshire Cat and I went to the back door of the Tsuruka pastry shop. In front, the Anpan's fight continued. Oh, they're really tearing into each other this time. Rotty nodded in admiration. Crap, I completely forgot about them. Oh, man, what should I do? Looked around flustered. About what? What do you mean? What? About this? I pointed to the spectacle still unfolding in front of me. I think you can just ignore it. Rotty said matter-of-factly. But I feel a little responsible for this scuffle. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Unpans like to fight about stuff. Oh, they must be all right up by your return, Alice. That's gotta be it. Someone is grinding? It's not really grinding, per se, because it's like a point-and-click adventure game. Then, doesn't that mean it's my fault that their fighting has gotten so heated? The Cheshire Cat paid no attention to my worries and walked into the middle of the mall with me still on his shoulder. That's going pretty well. It's a pretty interesting game. Wait, Cheshire Cat, the Unpuns will see me. But nobody paid us any attention. The holy land of red beans is Hokkaido. What are you talking about? Red beans come from Tanba. Tanba Dainagon. You followed again? It seemed the subject of their fight had expanded to include the birthplace of their ingredients. We headed toward the elevator, narrowly avoiding the torn, unpun limbs soaring near us. But is it really okay that you chose me? Rotty asked dejectedly, stepping on fallen unpuns as he walked next to the Cheshire Cat. Of course. Well, that is the person who will eat you may not take the time to appreciate your taste. That's okay. Right now I'm just thankful that someone is going to eat me. Oh, I believe you've fallen. I've just started today. This is a completely new game. I'm glad. Upon saying that, an unpun's head flew in an arch in front of us, shouting, What are you talking about? It's milk. Milk goes best with unpun. The unpun that threw the head shouted back, If you can call yourself Japanese, it's tea. How dare you say it's milk? They seemed capable of fighting over anything. Hey, is it really okay to leave the unpuns like this? I started to feel worried and pulled on the Cheshire Cat's hood. Let them fight until they are satisfied, remarked the unconcerned Cheshire Cat. I wish they'll just get along. They're both delicious. Well, actually, I don't think there is much of a difference in flavour between the two. Is chunky bean paste versus smooth bean paste really such a big deal? Hey Rotty, which do you like better, smooth bean paste or chunky bean paste? Alice? Rotty let out an exasperated sigh. Don't ask me that kind of question. You might as well ask me if I'm a cannibal. Good point. Oh, that's right, I'm sorry. How about you, Cheshire Cat? Cats don't eat bread, he said, then he crouched so suddenly I almost fell off. You don't like bread? The Cheshire Cat stood up, turned his head and smiled softly. If you were baked in bread, Alice, I would eat it. I don't think I'll bring this up again. Restaurant in Naba looked exactly as we left it. However, the number of frogs passed out between the hall and kitchen had clearly increased. But the Duke hadn't budged from his spot where he lay his head on the table. If we don't hurry, they'll be escaping this hellhole by going to heaven. That's the Duchess, pointed out to Rotty. So she's gonna eat me? Yeah. Rotty was so lively as ever. I play a bit of Rogues, a lot of horror games currently, and Souls. But now that we were here, I wasn't quite sure how to feel. What's with the gloomy reaction? Rotty smiled brightly. Alice? What? The Cheshire Cat pointed a finger at me. It wasn't his finger though. It belonged to an unpun. He had probably picked it up off the floor. Eat. I don't want to eat. What are you saying all of a sudden? Strawberry makes you small, red bean paste makes you big. Ah, the Cheshire Cat said as if casting a spell. Makes you big? Does that mean I can return to my original size? The grinning face nodded. But that doesn't mean I'm thrilled to eat a finger though. Eat it, Alice. Unpuns may be simple-minded, but they don't taste half bad. Rotty twisted his neck to look at me while he did some stretching exercises. Okay. Reluctantly, I accepted the finger, which was about the size of a loaf of bread. Cheshire Cat put me down on the floor. After what Rotty said, I can't really argue. I'm ready. I psyched myself up and closed my eyes. I'm okay. It's just bread. Much better a human finger than anything else. At least it doesn't look like a cockroach or a slug. Ugh. Alice? Sorry, it's nothing. I had accidentally imagined a cockroach and slug-shaped bread. Okay, I'm going to eat it now. I mustered up my courage and bit down on the tip of the finger. The fingernail seemed to be made of thin candy. It was crunchy and delicious. Though it was just the fingertip, after one bite I was already able to taste the red bean paste inside. The unpuns had red bean paste filling every nook and cranny of their bodies. I swallowed the unpun. It's very good. Rotty laughed happily. The world began to shake. I started to feel as dizzy as I did when I shrank. As I struggled to maintain my balance, the floor got farther and farther away. When I felt the Cheshire Cat pat my back, I had returned to normal size. I looked at my hands and body first, then I looked at my surroundings. The restaurant, which had once looked enormous, was actually not that big. It was a cute, tasteful restaurant. I'm back to my normal size, right? When I looked back, the Cheshire Cat's once giant face had grown smaller, and Rotty, who had previously towered over me, was now a small boy who came up to my chest. I started to feel embarrassed and fixed the hem of my skirt. Wait a minute, my clothes aren't torn. Well, they did shrink to fit me in the first place, so I guess it's not that strange. Oh wow, you're actually pretty big, Alice. Rotty looked up at me as if struck by something dazzling. Okay, I guess I'll get to it then. Rotty, this is goodbye, Alice. I got down on my knees and embraced Rotty. His skin was rough, he smelled like mold, but somehow it all seemed endearing. Rotty squirmed around like he was being tickled. I told you not to cry, remember? If she found out I made you cry, I would lose my head. Sorry. Thank you. You're the one who made this possible. I haven't done anything. The Cheshire Cat poked my shoulder softly as if prompting me. I let go of Rotty and stood up. Hey, make sure you're not crying so you can see me clearly. Alright, this is my big moment. Rotty jumped on the top of the table effortlessly. He began to make his way toward where the Duchess was sitting. Then he said, Hey, old man, you're kinda in the way, as he nudged the Duke with his foot, who was still bent over and face down on the table. He probably didn't have the energy to get angry, so when he lifted his head unsteadily, he let his body go limp against the back of the chair. As Rotty arrived at the very edge of the table, he took a deep breath and stared at the Duchess. As expected, the Duchess continued to shovel food into her mouth. I grabbed the Cheshire Cat's robe without thinking. Rotty gave me a quick wink and then proceeded to kick off the table. He ran the length of the table, which was about 30 feet long, and jumped gracefully. Without showing any hesitation, Rotty jumped right into the Duchess's mouth. At that moment, the Duchess groaned. Did he get stuck in her throat? Ugh, groaned the Duchess again. She began to thump on her chest repeatedly. My hands began to sweat into the grey robe held. My heart began to beat faster. Please don't throw him up. I held my breath for what seemed like forever. Then I heard a loud gulping sound. From where we stood, I could tell that a large object had just passed through the Duchess's throat. And then she continued to eat ravenously as if nothing had happened. Without taking my eyes off the Duchess, I asked, "She ate him, right?" In my peripheral view, I could see the Cheshire Cat grin and nod. "Good. I'm glad." I wiped away my tears. "I'm happy for you, Rotty." All we can do now is wait and see if she'll get small. I was a little worried about that. Rotty had clearly expired some time ago. Knowing how dry and mouldy he was on the outside, surely his jam had spoiled too. I had no idea how the shrinking and growing effects actually worked, and I wasn't sure if they would work properly if with spoiled jam. "Shrink, shrink, please, come on, you gotta shrink," I murmured to myself as I stared at the Duchess. Then, as if my prayers had been answered, the Duchess had begun to shrink. She reduced in size like a giant balloon rapidly deflating. "We did it!" I ran to the Duchess's side. She sat in a bowl of what appeared to be mashed potatoes, I couldn't really tell, with a blank look on her face. She had shrunk down even smaller than I did. Whoa, a whole 3 hours. You slept a whole 3 hours? She was about the size of a tame Java sparrow. It seems Rotty's effect was particularly strong. "Darling," the Duke staggered over. "Oh, you've become so small." The Duchess looked around nervously. It seemed like she was still processing the situation. "Now keep up your end of the bargain, Duke. Tell us what you know about the White Rabbit." Of course. The White Rabbit went over..." "Ah!" The Duchess's scream made me turn around. I thought she had screamed from the shock of her sudden change in size, but that wasn't the case. The Duchess had happily shoved her face into the ocean of mashed potatoes. "Darling, dearest, stop it. The food has become so large now. No matter how much I eat, I will never run out. Oh, how wonderful." Duke, you were saying where the White Rabbit went?" "Nothing has changed." "What?" "I asked you to make her stop eating. Now she's happier to eat than ever before." Well, look on the bright side. She doesn't need as much food since she's so small, so it's less of a burden on the frogs, right?" "I don't care about the frogs. What about my peace and quiet?" "I'm not sure what I can do about that." I glanced at the Cheshire Cat. While the Duke interrogated me, the cat was peeking into the bowl of mashed potatoes. I became a little anxious. He's not thinking about eating the Duchess, is he? She's about the size of a mouse right now, though. "Hey, Alice, are you even listening to me?" "Huh? You have such a lovely wife. She's so positive about everything." "Alice? You love her, right? Why don't you accept her as she is?" "Well then, I'm not going to tell you about the White Rabbit." "Oh, don't be so unreasonable." Oh yeah, not even close. "Alice," beckoned the Cheshire Cat as he peered inside the bowl. "Yes?" I ran over to the Cheshire Cat, thankful for an excuse to escape the Duke's haranguing. I peered into the bowl and saw that the Duchess was acting a little odd. She was clutching her stomach and writhing in pain amid the sea of potatoes. "What's wrong? Did she finally realize she was eating too much?" "Food poisoning," whispered the Cheshire Cat. What? Panicking, the Duke picked up his wife from the mashed potatoes. My stomach hurts." "Oh, my dear, are you okay?" "The bathroom, darling, the bathroom." Oh, the bathroom. You need to use the bathroom." "Yes, of course, leave it to me." As the Duke hurried over toward the bathroom, he looked back at me. "Thank you, Alice. Thank you for your help." That's right. The White Rabbit went through the door over there." The Duke gestured toward a direction with his chin. There stood a door. We couldn't see it before because the Duchess's giant body was hiding it. "Bathroom." "Oh, okay, just a little more. Keep it just a little longer," the Duke said as he held up the Duchess in front of his chest, running toward the bathroom, beaming with a smile. Silence suddenly fell over the restaurant. "I wonder if the Duchess is okay," I said softly to myself. Rotty is the cause, no doubt, and if that's the case, then I'm sure it's a very serious bout of food poisoning. "It's nothing to worry about," said the grinning Cheshire Cat, seemingly disinterested. "I suppose you're right. The Duchess has a pretty strong stomach, doesn't she? and we managed to find out where the white rabbit went. In the end, everything turned out okay, right? I peeked into the kitchen. The frogs had fallen where they once stood, sleeping as though they had died. The kitchen maid was also asleep, still gripping her knife and the pepper. Enjoy your well-earned rest. After I said that, the Cheshire Cat said something I hadn't heard in a while. Now, Alice, let's chase the white rabbit. I stood in front of the door that the Duke had pointed out. In contrast to the classy restaurant, the door seemed to be made of cold steel. It was a bit smaller than a normal-sized door, but if I crouched down, I could go through it. The knob turned easily enough. With some effort, I pulled the knob and the heavy door opened slowly. When I peered inside, there were about 4 or 5 steps right in front of me, leading to a dim passage straight ahead. The passage itself was about the width of one person. I crouched down and went through the door to enter the dim passage. Dank air clung to my skin. It's kind of eerie. Oh, the door had closed. The light from outside had been blocked off, plunging the passageway into a sudden darkness. Panicking, I tried to reach for the doorknob, but only grabbed air. Huh? What? In that unfamiliar darkness, I tried feeling around for the knob. However, there was only a flat wall. No shadow or shape of the door remained. Impossible. Did the door disappear? I actually started hanging on the wall where the door once stood. Cheshire Cat, hey, can you hear me? But there was no reply. From the dull sound of my banging, it didn't seem like there was empty space on the other side of the wall. It just made a slapping sound that hurt my hands. I turned back to face the passageway. It was a hall made of concrete. Naked light bulbs hung from the ceiling, casting their unreliable light. The end of the passageway was too dark to see clearly. Once again, I looked for the door that should have been there, but there was only a wall. If I can't go back, I guess I just have to move forward. The same thing happened at the school too. Fortunately, it's a little difficult to lose your way on a one-way street. I steeled my nerves and took a step forward. The sound of my footsteps rapping against the floor echoed through the passageway. I clasped my hands together in front of my chest. Thanks to the light bulbs, I was able to see what was in front of or behind me. But beyond that, the lighting was pretty lousy. It was a long, dark passageway. The light bulbs, all of which hung a set distance from each other, served as dim guides as I continued through the darkness. Am I really moving forward? Trying to conceal my breath while I walked, I suddenly realized that I could hear footsteps other than my own. Clack, clack. The soft sound of those mysterious footsteps seemed overlaid on top of my own. I froze in place, but the sound of those other footsteps did not stop. I realized that someone further down the passageway was walking toward me. I looked at the darkness in front of me. Who could it be? If they're coming from that direction, they must know if there's an exit. Clack, clack. The footsteps continued. In the faint light of the naked light bulbs, a beige-coloured skirt and feet wearing a pair of pumps became visible. A woman. I felt a little relieved. Excuse me. The woman slowly came closer. Her appearance started to become clearer. Oh! The woman's face was wrapped in bandages. Even her nose and eyes were covered, and only her mouth was just barely exposed. The bandages were soaked with blood. I took a step back, but tripped and fell on my butt. Yip, yip. On the ground, a small dog barked next to my face. It was a stuffed mechanical toy dog. I smelled something foul, like burnt plastic. The dog was scorched black, exposing the misshapen metal that formed the bones of its face. It's your fault, the bandaged woman muttered in a muffled voice. My heart started racing wildly. The woman slowly came closer. The right side of her torso was soaked red with blood. Her bloody right arm hung limp, and she gripped a bloody knife in her hand. It's your... I couldn't move. All I could do was cower and look up at her. The dog continued to bark in its shrill tone. Yip, yip. I'm sorry. I was so scared, so unbelievably scared that I apologized without really understanding why. The woman raised her knife without saying a word. I'm sorry. I waited for what felt like forever, but the pain never arrived. Fearfully, I opened my eyes. The woman was gone. The little mechanical toy dog had vanished too. The long, dark passageway stretched before my eyes as if nothing had happened. A moment passed, then I ran as if I was being repelled. I was so overcome with fear I nearly threw up. As if someone had reached into my brain and began moving things around, I started to recall an illusion. I'm sorry. Those words kept repeating in my mind. I didn't know who or what I was apologizing to. I'm sorry. I desperately fought the urge to slam my head against the wall as hard as I could and put an end to this. Jesus! The end of the dark passageway began to draw near. I could see a door waiting for me. Without the slightest hesitation, I leaped through it. This is interesting. Chapter 3. Strangers in a Strange City. Try and say that 5 times fast. I felt the wind caress my cheek. I looked around at my surroundings. There was a dimly lit alleyway. To my left, on the other side, where the alleyway broke off, I saw a crowd of people coming and going. Like a moth to a flame, I drifted closer. Did we escape? I couldn't quite process reality for some reason. When I reached the main street, I finally realized that it was the back street of the hotel. I felt as though I hadn't fully awakened from a dream, so I just stood and loitered absent-mindedly. The street lamps and display windows were lit. I just stood in place as businessmen and students on their way home moved around me, occasionally casting annoyed looks my way. I was adrift in a sea of people. Though I knew this place very well, I felt like I had become a lost child. Where should I go? Suddenly, I felt someone's eyes on me, and I turned around slowly. On the other side of the street, past the cars driving along, there was a man who was staring intensely in my direction. What? Who was that? I had never seen that man before. When the man's eyes met mine, he ran over to the crosswalk, but the light was red and he couldn't cross yet. Hey! The man was clearly calling out to me. Run away? I heard a voice in my head. The traffic light turned yellow. The flow of traffic came to a stop. On instinct, I turned around and started running. Hey, wait! The man's voice sounded distressed. He's coming. He's chasing me. He's trying to catch me. If I'm caught, No, I'm scared. I threw caution to the wind and forced my way through the blinking stoplight. Weaving through the crowd, I found my way to the shadow of a random building and hushed my breathing. It doesn't look like that man has caught up to me. He must have lost sight of me in the crowd. I waited for a little bit, then peeked out from the shadows. Between all the people coming and going, I couldn't see the man at all. When I relieved and put my hand over my chest, something lightly tapped my back. Without thinking, I jumped up and screamed. I immediately turned around and only to see a girl wearing a familiar school uniform. Yukino? When I said her name, she grinned. I knew it was you, Ariko. What's your excuse for being dressed so cute? Yukino asked, then she pulled on my skirt and my apron dress. Yukino and I went to the same elementary, middle and high schools. She was my best friend. After seeing her face, the world seemed to snap back to reality. Yukino! You're Yukino, right? For real? What's wrong with you, Ariko? Did something happen? Some strange person is chasing me. What? As if protecting me, Yukino pushed me to the side of the street and looked at our surroundings. What kind of person? A man. He's probably around 30 years old. It doesn't seem like there's anyone particularly suspicious around. I steadied my grip as I held onto Yukino's uniform. Yeah, I'm okay now. Weirdos tend to like you, Ariko. It can be so dangerous, said Yukino as she turned around. Then her face suddenly turned grim. What happened there? Huh? Your cheek is all red. And when she said that, I reached up and touched my left cheek. My cheek started to hurt, as if my body suddenly remembered. I felt a sudden rush of heat and a surge of pain with each beat of my heart. Ouch! Did someone hit you? No, nothing like that happened. That's weird. When did that happen? I couldn't remember. No one hit me and I didn't bump into anything. Yukino looked at my face with concern, but eventually her look softened. It'll be okay. I'm going to stay with you. Thank you. I felt myself relax. It's good to have friends. Now then, Yukino grinned as she pointed at me. Do you want to go somewhere? Huh? I was bewildered by her sudden proposal. I'm hungry, but I don't have any money. We'll get fast food. It's on me. But I'm wearing this, so it's fine. It's really cute. I think we should still stick with her. Yeah, okay, let's go. I didn't want to go by myself at that moment. Together, Yukino and I made our way toward the fast food restaurant by the train station. We sat next to each other at the counter and faced the second floor windows. I felt a little hungry, but I didn't really have much of an appetite, so I decided to order a drink instead. Ooh, I love hot chocolate. After I finished my drink, I was finally beginning to calm down. I think it's meant to be I considered telling Yukino about what happened to me, but when the time came, I didn't know where to begin. Did it actually happen in the first place? Isn't it just so ridiculous no matter how I explain it? Maybe I just had a weirdly vivid daydream. I started to feel less and less confident. I just remembered, said Yukino as she sipped some tomato juice. Isn't your birthday coming up, Ariko? Huh? The suddenness of her small talk made me blink. Is something wrong? Oh, no, nothing wrong. I feel like I haven't had a conversation like this in a long time. Normalcy is amazing. I hope you like your gift. It's extra special this time. You really don't have to go to the trouble. Oh, don't say that. Yukino puffed up her pale cheeks. Oh no, I'm sorry. What I meant was we don't really celebrate birthdays at my house. Have I never told you this? Really? Why not? I think it's because my father died. I'm pretty sure it was after my 4th birthday. I was young, so I don't really have many memories of my father. But strangely enough, I remember clearly that he died right after my birthday. From then on, I don't remember celebrating much of anything, including my birthday. But it's the day you were born, Yukino muttered with dissatisfaction. It's enough for me that you even feel that way, Yukino. But that was too embarrassing to say out loud. Oh, but you know what? Mr. Takimura said that we should celebrate it this year. Mr. Takamura? My mum's boyfriend. Did I never tell you about him? Mum is going to marry Mr. Takamura soon. After my dad died, all urge to celebrate vanished from our household. Birthdays and holidays, even Christmas, simply came and went like any other day at the Katsuragi residence. But if I get a new dad, maybe we'll start celebrating again too. That's a happy thought to have. What kind of person is he? Huh? Mr. Takimura? He's a good person. He's pretty quiet. He's very kind to me too. Is that so? Then you don't want a present from me? I couldn't help laughing. Every once in a while, Yukino gets pouty like a little kid. I want it. After, it's extra special, isn't it? We looked at each other and laughed. Yep, hope you're excited about it. After she said that, Yukino stood up. She looked down at me and grinned. I'll be right back. Restroom? Yep. With nothing to do, I looked out the window at the street across the way by the train station. There are so many different kinds of people. A serious-looking businessman talking into his phone. A girl with perfectly applied makeup. A young man wearing headphones and rocking his body slightly as he walks. Where did all of these people come from? It's strange that so many people would gather in this one spot for no obvious reason. High school girls carrying crepes in one hand as they walk happily. A brown-haired girl mechanically passing out flyers. And within the crowd, a swaying white figure. Without thinking, I pressed my face against the window. Amid that sea of black and brown heads, 2 long white ears were swaying. The White Rabbit? No, he's leaving. I slid out of my chair without a second thought, then immediately snapped back to reality. I was about to chase it? Why? I have nothing to do with the White Rabbit. The Cheshire Cat was the one who told me to chase after it. But I have to chase it. Because now, that's all you have left. Huh? That voice again. The one I heard when I encountered that weird man. Whose voice is it? What does "that's all you have left" mean? I don't understand. At that moment, pain suddenly flooded the right side of my body. As I reeled from the pain, a loud voice pierced through my mind. Let's go. Someone's voice appeared in my mind again. I felt it flood my mind as it prompted me to move. You must chase after it and reach it. Thanks for waiting, Ariko. I turned around and saw that Yukino had returned. Yukino? I must have been making a strange face. Yukino's eyes were wide with shock. What happened? I'm sorry, I need to go. What? I pressed my hands together in an apology and ran down the stairs. I heard Yukino's panicked voice call after me from the top of the stairs. Wait, Ariko? Sorry, I'm really, really sorry. With those words, I left her and ran out of the shop. I followed the swaying ears through the crowd. No one seemed to notice the rabbit that was walking on 2 legs and wearing a suit. Just as when I encountered him in the classroom, he was transparent. Maybe the other people couldn't see him. I wonder if it's an illusion. I started to doubt myself. Maybe I'm going crazy? But I was definitely able to see them, the swaying white ears. If I catch him, what will I find out? Where will it lead me? I followed the white rabbit to the back streets of the elevated railroad. At the moment, I realized there was no sign of anyone else. It was just me and the white rabbit on this dimly lit street. An office building and shops surrounded us, but they all had their shutters down and signs put away. There was no sign of activity whatsoever. Like before, the white rabbit was blurry and transparent. Though his back was facing me, I could see the doll he held in his arms. It was the same doll he was holding when I encountered him in the classroom. No, it's not the same. It's got arms! The doll, it has arms. That was just a torso last time. Now the doll had arms. Hey. Fearfully, I called out to the white shadow that was moving forward. It didn't react at all. It just swayed and kept walking. There were only a few street lamps, so the street itself was rather dark. Normally I wouldn't want to walk on such a street, but the light emitting from the white shadow eased my fear of the darkness. Suddenly, the rabbit began to sing. Legs, legs, legs. Where could your legs be? If you don't have your legs, you can't walk with me. As he sang, the white rabbit drifted into a nearby building. I stopped and looked up at the building. Yes, it's a building. It was a tall, skinny structure with 4 floors. It looked abandoned and rather filthy. Is this soot? Maybe there was a fire. Ooh, for a moment I wavered, then I stepped inside the dim building to chase the rabbit. I came across a small elevator. When I tried pressing the button, there was no response. I wiped the black soot stuck to my finger onto my apron. I climbed a dark, narrow staircase. Everything was covered in soot. There must have been a fire here. That must be why this building is abandoned. The soles of my shoes scraped against the sand and garbage piled on the stairs. A pile of junk blocked the door to the 2nd floor, and it didn't look like I could get past it. I gave up on that door and continued on to the 3rd floor. The door to the 3rd floor opened easily enough. On the other side of the door stretched a narrow hallway. Both sides of the hallway had 2 frosted glass doors each. Inside felt cold and run down. Everything was covered in soot here too, but compared to the staircase it was much cleaner. The fluorescent lights on the ceiling flickered, so electricity is still running, even though the elevator didn't work. There was no sign of the white rabbit. To my right, a dim light shined through the frosted glass door before me. Is someone in there? The white rabbit? I hesitated for a moment, then knocked on the door. Yes? I jumped and trembled at the unexpected reply. As I watched over it, the knob turned and the door opened just a crack. Welcome. Through the crack, I could see a smiling man. Excuse me. Okay, so I knocked on the door, but now what should I say? If the man was bothered by my silence, he didn't show it. Instead, he just opened the door all the way. Please come in. I accepted his hospitality and stepped into the room. The ceiling and walls of the dreary room were made of concrete. I only had one window too. A stuffy scent lingered as if the room had been closed up for a long time. But there was no trash or dust in sight. It almost seemed like the room had been recently swept. Though it wasn't completely clean either. A dining table and 2 chairs placed on opposite ends of each other were in the otherwise empty room. A white tablecloth and lit candles decorated the table. That was the only furniture. There were no lights on. The dim light that I could see from outside must have come from the candles. A silver fork and spoon were placed in front of one of the seats. The table seemed set for a meal to be served, but the ambience in the room felt brusque and uninviting. Please have a seat. Like a server in a restaurant, the man pulled the chair and gestured for me to sit. He was a very skinny person. His shoulders were narrow and his face was long. His arms and legs seemed strangely spindly. Please. When I am hesitating to sit, the man repeated, grinning. He had been smiling for a while at this point. His expression hadn't changed at all, almost like his face was a mask. Somehow, his smile seemed different from the Cheshire Cat's. Please. Though his demeanour was polite enough, the tone of voice suggested that he would not take a no for an answer. Fearfully, I lowered myself onto the seat. He finished seating me, then he left the room with an elegant flourish. Excuse me. I thought he had gone outside, but I couldn't hear the clinking sound of dishes being handled coming from the back. I was hesitant to stand for all kinds of reasons, so I sat and waited for the man. Eventually, he came back. He held a covered plate in his right hand and a basket covered with a cloth in his left. Standing behind me, the man placed both objects in front of me. Who are you? The man did not answer. Suddenly, he went around the table and sat himself across from me. We looked directly at each other. That's not a smile. The edges of his thin lips were curled to give the appearance of smiling, but his eyes were cold and joyless. Something about this appearance seemed reptilian. His skin is probably cold to the touch, I thought to myself. Would you like some stew? Please help yourself to some bread, said the man. I'm looking for the White Rabbit. Did he come this way? Would you like some stew? Please help yourself to some bread, the man repeated. His hair, which I thought was black, glowed green in the light of the candle. I don't want any, so would you like some stew? Please help yourself to some bread. I glanced at the plate and the basket. Would you like some stew? Please help yourself to some bread. The skinny man's eyes narrowed as he repeated himself again. I reached for the bread basket. I pulled away the white cloth on top of the basket and saw several rolls of bread inside it. Cherry blossom unpan, poppy seed unpan, sesame seed unpan. The basket was filled with unpans for some reason. A few white bread rolls were mixed in with them. At the very bottom of the basket was it, squished by all the other pieces of bread. There was a mouldy white bread roll. Mould. As if compelled by it, I picked up the bread roll and tore it off a piece. Red jam dripped out of its strawberry jam bread. I put a piece of the bread in my mouth without a second thought. Though it was mouldy, it didn't taste bad at all. On the contrary, it was sweet and melted in my mouth like a soft snow. I continued tearing off pieces and eating them. A sudden wave of sleepiness hit me, but I still couldn't stop eating the bread. The skinny man's slippery face continued to watch me in silence. My head feels heavy. It's so heavy I can't keep it up. Quietly, the man took away the bread that was in front of me. After eating the last piece, I couldn't help myself and fell face first on the table. Oh, he's going to eat me, isn't he? Where is the White Rabbit? Where did the Cheshire Cat go? Why am I chasing after the White Rabbit? What's going to happen to me? These questions swirled incoherently in my mind, and as if weighed down, I fell to sleep. Ooh, trippy. Barking. The barking of a small toy dog. The barking of a small burnt dog. A crashing sound. Someone had thrown the toy dog at the wall. It bounced off the wall and rolled on the ground, then a person carelessly picked it up. After, the toy dog slammed into the wall again. Over and over, the toy dog hit the wall and bounced back. Each time it got a little more broken. Why? The person cried. They kept crying and throwing the toy dog. The toy dog kept breaking into pieces. Its front legs broke off. Its back, black plastic eyes spun through the air. The dog kept getting thrown against the wall, its red blood spreading further and further. Blood? The arms broke off. The legs shattered. The head fell off and rolled onto the ground. It was me. It wasn't a toy dog. It was me as a child. Why? Person kept crying and throwing me against the wall. As my head rolled on the ground, it whispered softly, "I'm sorry." What? When I finally opened my eyes, the first thing I saw was the white tablecloth. That's right, I fell asleep. A skinny man was no longer seated across from me. The stew plate, the bread basket, and the candles on the table had all vanished. With the candles gone, the room had become dark. Light from the street lamps outside came through the only window and faintly lit room. At what point did I start dreaming? I don't really know. I blinked my eyes repeatedly. With each blink, a tear fell down my cheeks until I finally noticed I was crying. I wiped my cheeks with the back of my hands. How childish, crying because of a dream. The heaviness in my head was gone. How long was I asleep? Right when I was about to stand up, an unexpected sound reached my ears. I froze. It was the sound of footsteps going up the stairs. Who was that? This building is abandoned. Oh no, what if it's some creep? I looked around the room in a panic. Should I hide? But there's nowhere to hide. After a moment's hesitation, I quickly ran to the door as quickly as I could. Thankfully, the door had a cylinder lock. I pinched the lock carefully and clicked it into place. It was louder than I expected, and I felt a sudden twinge of fear. The footsteps grew louder. Pressed against the door, I held my breath. The doorknob turned roughly. My heart felt like it was going to beat out of my chest. I was too scared to even breathe. The square glass fitted with the upper half of the door had cracked, leaving a small gap. I could sense someone peeking into the room through the gap, but it was completely dark, so there was no way they could see me. Even so, my body stiffened up. There was someone on the other side of the door. I thought I could even hear their breathing. Finally, I heard the footsteps walking away from the door. Then I heard the sound of a doorknob being turned again. They must be checking the other rooms. I carefully peeked out of the crack in the glass. The fluorescent lights in the hallway allowed me to see who this person was. It's the man who was chasing me in the front of the hotel. Did he follow me? That's impossible. But it seemed that the doors to the other rooms wouldn't open. The man came back to the hallway, came up the hallway. He appeared to have given up. I quickly ducked my head. Eventually, the footsteps trailed off. I went to the window and looked down at the street. The man was walking away, his shoulders hunched. Who could he be? Why is he following me? I felt my attention relax, only to be suddenly greeted by a familiar smell. It smells like something is burning. It can't be. I ran out of the room. When I entered the hallway, I was surrounded by a sea of fire. No way. How? It was fine just a moment ago. There's nothing combustible here. The concrete was burning as though it were made of wood. It's hot. Searing heat hit my body and I raised my arms to cover my face. The fire had consumed half of the hallway. The staircase I used to come up was covered in flames. What should I do? Is there another exit? At the moment I saw something move in the fire. Within the fire, a woman whose face was wrapped in bandages stared intensely at me. It was the same woman I had met in the dark passageway in the hotel. The fire was burning the woman's hair and clothes. The bandages, however, didn't burn and remained wrapped around her face. The terrible scent of burning flesh filled the air. Slowly, the woman stepped forward. I took a step back. Still in the fire, the woman slowly extended her left hand and beckoned me. Feelings of hatred joined the heat in wrapping around me. No. I turned around and ran. I didn't have to look back to know that the woman in the fire were following me. If I stood even for a second, the fire would consume me. I desperately kept running forward. No, I hate fire. At the end of the hall, I saw a small, narrow staircase to the left. Above it was a green, dimly lit exit sign. A fire escape. I frantically ran. Down, shouldn't we? Frantically ran down the stairs. The first floor was already covered in fire. I continued down the stairs leading below. What other choice did I have? With the fire at my back, I ran down to the basement. The basement was an empty storage room. Even though there was nothing flammable nearby, the fire tore open the door and began surging down the stairs. Uh-oh, there was nowhere to escape. The sea of fire instantly engulfed me. My hands, feet, and hair ignited in a flash. I waved my arms in desperate attempt to shake off the fire. It's burning before my eyes. I can smell my own flesh burning. I suddenly remembered a depiction of hell I saw in a World of History reference book. The sinners ran about, burned by the fires of hell. The sinners ran about. Oh, it repeated. As I writhed in pain, I heard a cool voice in the back of my mind. Yes, dance madly. Endure the burden. The unforgivable crime for which there is no penance. The hell? Suddenly, my vision went black. I stopped dancing, and the heat disappeared as if it melted away. The delicate hands covering my eyes were removed, revealing an empty storage room. There was no sign that a fire had burned here at all. When I slowly turned around, I was greeted by a familiar grinning face. Cheshire Cat? But the fire. The Cheshire smiled but did not answer. Said he took my hand. Fire is bad. It's very bad. I held the Cheshire Cat's hand tightly and let out a deep sigh. The Cheshire Cat's lukewarm hand seemed to suddenly heat up. As if responding to the change in temperature, my heartbeat slowed down. A sensation again. This has happened before. The question I wanted to ask was on the tip of my tongue, but then I saw the Cheshire Cat's face. He was holding his face with his free hand. What's wrong? The Cheshire Cat moaned softly. Eventually, the Cheshire Cat slowly moved his hand. His usual smile peeked out faintly from underneath his hood. Is something wrong? Do you feel sick? I was worried. Up until this point, the Cheshire Cat had never behaved this way. The Cheshire Cat would always smile no matter what happened. I thought that was normal, so... Hey, are you okay? It's nothing, Alice. But... The Cheshire Cat squeezed my hand tightly as if to insist that I stop arguing. Alice, it's nothing. Said in easily understandable terms, I felt peculiarly persuaded. That's right. If the Cheshire Cat says it's nothing, it must be nothing. So there's nothing for me to worry about. Let's hurry and leave. I don't like it here. I pulled the Cheshire Cat's hand and headed toward the staircase leading from the basement. Yes, if we don't hurry, we'll be late to the tea party. The Cheshire Cat said leisurely. We'll be late to what? I looked back at the cat. The tea party. The tea party? I stared back with a suspicious smile, then I inclined my head. Oh wow, up to chapter 4 already. Midnight tea party. Okay, let's save. Ah. Alright. I'm going to return to main menu. End list. Oh my god. Oh my lord. Hi, Natty. Ah. Interesting. What's so that must be an ending there. Whoa. So there's 8 chapters. Cool. Oh. Oh. Cool. I'm gonna end it there. This has gotten interesting. I didn't expect it to be like that. I'm gonna end it here. I'm gonna get some sleep. I'm gonna play more of that next week. I'm very curious of how that's going to go. If you want me to try and get every ending, I can certainly try. Oh, look. Wonderful.